that's really a thing, and I get authorized to do it once. It's pretty much gonna be me sitting there talking shit, like, constantly.
This is a public service announcement from C.T. Fletcher. I will not contribute to the pussification of a nation. Get your punk ass out there and work for it, motherfucker.
Freedom is the right of all sentient beings. Let's roll.
Morning, Sergeant Major.
How do you know what kind of goddamn day it is?
Beautiful morning, Sergeant Major.
Are you a fucking weatherman now?
You're listening to Sergeant's Time on WTF Nation Radio.
Hey, welcome to Sergeant's Time. This 1 March 2018, broadcasting live from the Functional Veteran Center of Excellence. I got my Master Gunner. My name's Ice.
Present.
Mike Golf. And, of course, the doctor of all docs, Doc Madness, and the front desk, obviously, is me. Here to give you some Sergeant's Time.
Good evening.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno under Journo. Hey, so today we have a special guest coming up at 2100. It's going to be John Plenzler, the Director of Media Relations for the American Legion. The American Legion National Headquarters, to be exact, the one in D.C. So they're going to come on here, and we're going to ask questions to Joe, and you know, in the standard WTF Functional Veteran Center of Excellence method of asking questions, we're going to ask the right questions. So if anybody's got anything they want to ask, then drop it in the Facebook live chat, and then that way I can get it PM'd to me, so that way we can ask Joe, because this is the media relations dude for the American Legion.
American Legion.
America. Anyways, so he is the legit dude. Flash went out to storm the Capitol event, or storm the Hill event that the American Legion had. Great videos. Check us out on Twitter. Check us out on the Facebook page, and you'll see some podcasts and videos coming up soon in a minute, and like a little show that Flash is going to do up and basically highlight what's been going on. A lot of the questions and a lot of the issues that were being brought up, surprisingly enough, for some of the stuff that we talk about here at WTF Nation Radio. So I cannot wait. So looking forward to it. So anyways, how was y'all's week?
Awesome, dude. I got my truck decorated.
Yeah, okay, well, you know. Yeah. Dude, okay, you know, you walking around with that type of stuff, and you know the Empire is going to come after you and send the
Rebel Alliance will never go away.
Yeah, whatever,
we
dude.
Will win.
Whatever, if you say so. But anyways, what about you, Doc Man?
Fucking nerds.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking nerds. Good week. I think it's been a pretty good week.
Yeah, mine's excellent.
Yeah.
Since it's unremarkable, then, you know.
We are remarkable. So, but anywho.
Yeah, my week has just been unremarkable, and that's like, I'm not gonna jinx it.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
exactly.
You know what I mean?
No, I hear you. Definitely hear you, man. Because I know what's gonna happen is the fact that you end up saying something, and then the next thing you know, no shit. Like, what's the worst thing can happen? Type shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, hold my beer.
EMS / fucking emergency room, fucking superstitions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, not jinx, hold my beer or whatever. So, wow. So a lot of stuff going on in the news, national security. We all know what's been going on with the drama for your mama up in the cabinet of D. Treasy, of course, POTUS. A lot of issues going on with what is being discussed and what is considered a clearance or what is not a clearance and all that. So I tagged our media friends, Fox News, CNN, and MSNBC. it's just ironic that a lot of the stuff that we broadcast on WTF Nation Radio or post on U.S. Army WTF Moments makes it on Fox and Friends, the Situation Room. I see it as an invitation being a form of flattery. However, one of the things that's kind of driving me up the wall is the clearance thing. The clearance thing. It's driving me up the wall.
Did you see the one? There's a meme. I just saw a meme about that fucking I can't. It's Kutcher, right? Or
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I like mix. I think like Ashton Kutcher because he's like both of them are good-looking dudes. With boyish complexions. Not to get too homoerotic though.
Indeed.
Fucking saw a meme. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like who I'm referring to. The dude.
Yeah. That is the son-in-law of the president.
It's like Defense Secretary awards this dude special super secret super duper fucking secret clearance.
Yeah, it was on the Duffel blog, exactly. Super duper secret duper secret clearance. Okay, so just to cover what's going on, everyone is flipping the fuck out because they said that he had his top secret clearance downgraded. Media Nation, everybody needs to know that if you worked in these types of fields, that when you have a security clearance, obviously, no, we're not going to talk about the lowest level. We're going to talk about secret and above because the other one's rarely being used anyways. So secret and above. So there's secret, and then there's top secret, and then there's top secret. SCI.
Top secret.
There's super top secret.
I don't know. Do you think it's a good idea to? I know it's not OPSEC.
I've already cleared it. I've already cleared it with our with the WTF Nation and WTF
cool.
Moments.
No, I
all the questions.
Had,
all the questions.
How I am.
Same way. All the questions that I had thrown up, I had it ready to go. So the point being is that you have a secret clearance. All right. Now there are special what they call caveats to those clearances that can add to whatever job or whatever position you're going to be working with. So, for instance,
are you talking about need to know?
Oh yes, and they're also called. What it is there is a caveat that is given a name. Each of these caveats that have names of what it is. Exactly that. It's what it is. So, if you're going to go do something and it has a name to it, then that caveat is added to the clearance already. Now, how it works, it's done normally at the local level, and it's done through an individual who has the authorization to what's calling reading you on. Reading you on is you get the information of said specific operation or specific program that you're going to be working on. You read that information, hence the name reading it on. You sign a non-disclosure statement. You turn it into that security manager, and bam, you are now read. Even though you don't have a TS clearance, even though you don't have a TS SCI, you're adding a caveat to that clearance which you already had as secret, mind you, if you don't have a TS. So what
but it's the other direction of it is to keep the reason for why they do it is to keep track of whoever has access, of everybody who has access to that fucking code name fucking shit.
Yeah, exactly. You know? No, I got you because
and it's the same thing, dude. So it doesn't matter. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like just because you have never mind. I'm fucking rambling. Dude.
No, you're right. No, I was just about ready to say you hit it. Both of you, Mike Goff and Doc Mattis, hit it right on the head. Just because you have that access of a clearance does not mean you have the need to know to be read on to that specific caveat of that program. So, when everyone's going off on Jared Kushner, who is the son-in-law of Dee Treasy and is, who's married to Ivanka, everyone's flipping out because his TS was downgraded. So now it happens. Now, and I'll explain that in a minute. So I'm just giving you the access level about it now. So that access of clearance, and mind you, it's clearances are pretty fucking dry. I am shocked that I'm hearing all this stuff, and you hear all these people here at the Pentagon expert, the Intel expert, the security expert, and they make it like it's a big freaking deal. Mind you, at the unit level, it's normally run by a specialist and a buck sergeant, and they're the ones that handle your clearance, and they're the ones, and then you have a captain or a major, depending on what level of program you have, that reads you on, unquote, to that specific caveat, so that way you can go conduct your mission.
Dude, it's like, if it's general rule of thumb, if it can't be explained in a sentence, then the people don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
No, but they really, but what's funny is that they don't really, they don't really understand the meaning of the terms. In other words, they have people who are not involved in the said process. So it's almost like you're having someone who is you're having someone who is not a rocket scientist watch a rocket scientist and then having to report what a rocket scientist does. You know what I mean? It's fucking hilarious.
I've seen a crash course. YouTube
Exactly.
Clearances.
And to put it very simply and in layman's terms, reduction is not revocation.
Correct. Everyone's like, whoa, the media's like, oh, the president this, the president that. I'm like, stop. We're going to get to that.
He lost his security
No,
clearance.
he did. Okay, no, exactly.
Dude, and here's another thing, right? Here's another thing. The security clearance blanket protocol for a security clearance, that's for fucking instituting like release of sense information among many people that are not significant, like is in the rank structure. This Ashton Kutcher fella, he's fucking important. It don't matter what fucking clearance he's got.
Yeah, exactly.
That's absolutely. It doesn't fucking matter. Yeah, Joe Schmo, when he gets out, he's in E4. I was in the infantry. I fucking have a secret clearance. That's gonna affect his resume. Ashton Kutcher is not. He's still gonna be punking people, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly.
It doesn't fucking matter. It's
And what's going to end up
it could
happening
be
is
like somebody like that, dude. Just because their shit is reduced, it could be temporary. It could be while they're under investigation for something. There's so many things, but like it's an ominous fucking sensationalist terminology that's used to I don't really follow the dude. You might think I do based on.
Here's an idea. Quit getting your definitions of security clearances from watching Mission Impossible, fucksticks.
Exactly. Or better yet, stop looking at the news. I've yet to see anybody from OPM or the CCF explain to anybody what a fucking clearance is in all these realms. Because believe it or not, all the
they don't have need to know.
Well, that's partially true, but you know what's funny is that everyone's running around and coming up with their own definition of what it means, and then you have one news agency, and that's why I tagged all three of you guys because all three of you are guilty of it. You have one news agency that is not making a big deal about it, but making a big deal about something else, and you have another one that's oh fuck, oh this and this. And flipping the fuck out on how the just in itself the whole process to begin with. So let me continue. So say this: I'm going to do a specific event that is part of my mission. So I go to my security guy, I go through the brief and get read on to that caveat that's being added to my already good to go clearance. Once that happens, then I will have that process to go through and conduct my mission. When I come back from that mission and I'm no longer needed for said mission, I get what's called read off. Yes, making read off means that you sign a non-disclosure agreement, you get debriefed of what you did or what was happening, and then it's pretty much saying, I'm going to forget everything you just told me and what I did, and then the book closes, and then I'm forever in the roster of, yes, I knew about this, so if it ever comes out 50 years later, and I'm trying to sell a book like all the SEALs are, then I will be held accountable. Caveat.
Basically like jerking off.
Yeah, exactly.
Reading off.
So, yeah, basically what it is. Are you done with this? Yeah.
Implied amnesia.
Exactly. Or you sit there and it's a dick measuring contest with a guy that didn't deploy, and you're like, yeah, man, you know, this happened and that, and you know what I mean? So it's funny as shit watching.
And you got to sit there and bite your fucking tongue. Yeah.
Yes.
Dude,
Yeah.
and here's another thing
Exactly.
too, right? Like,
Exactly.
you got all these fucking experts, usually from like Joe Schmo. Like, I don't think so. There's different types of clearances, right? Like DoD is gonna have its own fucking clearance.
They're all the
If
same.
you have a
pretty
secret
much.
clearance in DoD, it's not the same thing as a fucking secret clearance from fucking Department of State. Like, those are given out.
They're run through the same.
individually, right?
They're run through the same
And-
facilities, though. You know what I'm saying? So, go ahead, continue.
But they're different. They're categorically different clearances. Secret is not secret. It's not equal to. It's fucking
It's secret,
categorically apples and oranges.
but
And
secret is secret.
Dudes like in the Army, I know. Go ahead.
No, but I'm saying, but it's still secret. So if I have like when I've worked in embassies before doing some other stuff, I have my clearance in the DoD was good in the clearance for those
I'm
facilities.
tracking on that as
Yeah.
far as like once you're already in, but as far as getting, the reason I bring it up, here's the difference, right? if I get out of the Army and I go to work Department of State, they're going to require me to acquire, though I'm more likely to, it's going to influence me getting that job, that I have already a certain level of clearance from DOD. I'm still going to have to go through Department of State investigation process to get their clearance.
Correct.
It's not the same. They don't.
Yeah,
you know.
exactly.
So
exactly that.
And they don't give them out. They don't give them out to like in like DOD. From my experience, this is personal experience. This isn't like subject matter expert shit. Personal experience. Like some types of units, you're gonna have like E4 and below, mandatory for them to have a secret clearance
or top secret clearance,
so they give it out to fucking any like dipshit, like not dipshit, but like it's minimal.
Correct. We're gonna get to that in a minute.
Like a lot more.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that in a minute. So so then I'm still stuck on the clearance for secret level and what caveats mean. That's where the term, you know, when people say, like Spanky said, I want to caveat this. Now, see, that's somebody got some fancy fucking word, ran with a $20 buzzword, like, I don't know, force protection, and fucking what's the other buzzwords? Oh, center of excellence. All those buzzwords.
Condoms.
Yeah, exactly.
Condoms.
Yeah, behoove. Those type of
length dick.
Yeah. Those type of definitions.
Florida State Sheriff's Department protection.
Oh, you mean? Oh, you mean? Oh.
Dun, dun, dun.
Now
You mean Broward
County?
I'm just gonna slip into my Jimmy
Oh man.
and cower in the corner.
Oh man, I love it. So once you're done with the once you're done with that specific that level of mission, then you're, like I said, you're read off, and then you're done. That's it. You no longer have access to that anymore. You can't go back into it and say, oh, hey, I forgot this, or hey, because you had to sign everything to go back. You know, it just, in other words, it's just a big admin thing, and it's not a big deal. So no issue, no fucking issue from there. That's what it means when you have that level of clearance. Now let's move it up to TS. Now you have TS, and you have TS SCI.
Not transgender.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, not transsexual. Can you say transsexual, or is that
What bathroom do you use when you have that clearance?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, actually, I don't know. I mean, yeah, because my level of clearance, you know, me and Doc Madness had some pretty good clearances, and we were peeing on trees and shit. And
depends on what type of.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways,
totally. I don't know what. Like, I lost that sentence.
Where are you going with that, man? I was like, where you going? Where you going? Where you going? So anyways, you have the next clearance up is TS, and then the caveat to that is TS-SCI, which is top secret sensitive compartmented information. And that means you have successfully completed a complete, you know, full scope, either fucking polygraph or a fucking CI or a complete 100% all the way back to about 15-year fucking background check on you. And yes, which is love SCI, which everybody that you have worked with, talked to, and all that, fuck yeah, everyone's gonna know. I even put my ex-wives on there, all of them, and they're
bold move.
Well, no, because I mean, because then that
I
way
know you have to.
Hey, you have to, but that way when they say, hey, why the marriage go bad? I'm like, well, wait till you talk to her, you'll find out. And they'll be like, you know what I mean?
Why are you asking me?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's why we got divorced.
You have her phone number.
Exactly.
Your fucking address and her place of employment.
Exactly. Go. So they conduct that interview, and that's it, really. And it takes a while. Now, here's the thing. If you already have a secret clearance, it's a lot easier to get. Not easier, but the time will be not dramatically shorter, but it will be considerably shorter than if you had no clearance and you had to go from jump all the way up to TS. Now, those are the two for right now. We're going to talk about this story about Ashton Kutcher getting his clearance punked. What's even better is the definition of what everyone is saying what happened. Now
we're so gonna get like blasted for misinformation.
Oh yeah,
Ashton Kutcher never had a clearance.
Oh no, exactly. That Jared Cooper we're talking about. Yeah, exactly. Here's a wag bag. So here's the deal, media that I've tagged you on. We're talking about Jared Kushner, the fucking son-in-law of Donald Trump, and the spouse of Ivanka. So that's who we're talking to.
Yeah,
but we're
they're just fucking haters.
Yeah, just hating because we're giving you the real WTF Nation experience. and ensuring that you guys, from people that are still in the Army currently right now, and individuals that are currently serving that actually have clearances. So those are the two processes. Now, again, if you already have a secret clearance, the time will be considerably shorter to level up to a TS, as opposed to you not having a clearance at all and having to move straight to the fucking top to get a TS. It will take a period of time. Now, while that's being conducted, while your investigation is happening, the command or the White House is authorized to grant you an interim clearance for the level that you're applying for. So, for instance, if your investigation is going pretty good and you're being granted by the classification authority, which in this case, the fucking president, or the chief of staff, whoever the classification authority is for that position, will then authorize you an interim secret or interim top secret clearance. When that investigation is going, if any pings during those investigations pop up, then immediately your interim clearance is stopped. Your interim clearance is stopped. Now here's where it gets tricky. If you already have a secret clearance and you're applying for a higher level of fucking classification access, and that one goes even worse, then you better make sure that your form that you filled out for your secret is legit with the form that you filled out with your TS, because you'll get the whole fucking thing pulled. So again, an interim secret, as long as you have no derogatory information or derog, then you'll have access to those to whatever, as long as you're good to go. That's right. Max, he's perfect. Got stuck with the S1, was in charge of you had to pick up some fucking clearance. You had, even for doing the fucking mail, because you were handling classified information, you were authorized to have a clearance. So what's going to happen?
You had to have a clearance to be a recruiter too.
Exactly. So what ends up happening is, for specific guys, the reason, well, how come this guy, he's only a lowly special ops guy, and he's only got this much rank, and how come he has this, and this? Well, because he has been read on to that specific mission or specific caveat to add on to his secret. However, as he progresses in rank, he must attain or must be eligible for a TS. Believe it or not, there are some positions in the Army that your TS, if you lose it, you're out of the Army. You cannot
tanker is not one.
Or lose it, motherfuckers.
Yeah, exactly. So don't even try it. So after that, for instance, say for instance in Jared Kushner's position, what happened with him is that his clearance was as a secret already going up. Well, I mean, he's granted. Well, the reason why is because he did not disclose foreign contacts. Remember I was telling you about how far and how deep an SCI goes. It's got to be within the last 15 years, and everybody you fucking talk to, every foreign country you went to.
Can I jump in?
Go for it.
And here's the thing. It's reasonable to ask this, right? Of everybody. But if you're fucking joining the Army and your foreign contacts includes the fucking Haji that's selling you fucking fake knives at the bazaar, it's gonna be significantly less for average people, for the most of us, even people that are like immigrants that are born fucking abroad, right? It's usually going to be like your non-immediate family, sometimes your immediate family that lives abroad that would be listed as
correct
foreign
as a foreign contact.
But for the most part, it's not that great of a, even for somebody who's like an immigrant.
Correct, but it's only when
for somebody who's been immersed in Ivanka Trump's pussy, but also international business, as a form of professional lifestyle. How, don't you dare!
Oh, man. And we're going to have the American Legion coming on here. The American Legion's going to be like, do we really want to come on? You're joining us, Joe.
Yeah.
You're joining us, Joe.
Situational awareness.
Doesn't matter, Joe.
You saw a profile picture. You knew what you were getting.
Yeah, exactly. You saw.
No, dude. It's that's what I'm saying. Is the dude's fucking not an average dude that has limited foreign contacts. Even for somebody who's has not that many foreign contacts or have not been out of the country that often, when you're filling that fucking paperwork out, you're just
yeah, you just don't blow it off.
Fuck, dude. You're racking your brain.
Yeah, you're not blowing it off either.
you know, throughout like a week, you're like remembering people. You're like, well, fuck, is this count as a foreign contact? And imagine this fucking dude, who's like international fucking business is what he does,
and he
like
talks to everybody. So he's talking to people in Dubai.
And then on top of that, and now he's in a position where fucking haters are specifically like targeting him. It's not just like an investigator that's like regular fucking investigator. It's gonna be like every fucking person that's like fucking these sniveling little fucks, right? Like they don't like Donald Trump. They think that Ivanka Trump is too gorgeous, and then they're hating on Ashton Kutcher's, you know, shit. And they're gonna be coming at, like I'm saying, there's like a lot of people that are actively investing their free time into fucking conducting research to pull up these foreign contacts that weren't fucking mentioned. It's fucking ridiculous, dude. It's a fucking shit show.
Well, and that's what you're saying.
Outside of like what we can reasonably
exactly
give an accurate assessment of, unless you're there and you have it, fucking need to know.
Yep, exactly.
Rant complete.
No, not rant complete, because you're right. You hit it on the head. It's due to the fact of who it is that no one else would have been paid attention to. Because how many people of the previous administrations, I'm not just saying the last one, but previous administrations, have been brought on board and just been given a clearance, just been processed. Hey, your clearance, you didn't get a TS, you didn't fucking get high enough to, or you have too much issues. We're only going to grant you a secret because that's the level of risk. And nobody gave a shit.
Where's the fucking headline? Hillary Clinton's clearance suspended while under investigation for fucking possible security leaks.
Yeah, exactly.
Or fucking
negligent
email server bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
Use of, like there was fuck them, dude. Fuck them. That's all I gotta say about that.
So it's gonna. Well, let me continue this. So now, where was I at? Oh yeah. So I was talking about what ended up happening is if you did not list, and you're right, Doc. Going through my foreign contacts. I mean, because me and you are both of immigrant type like status. It's a bitch. I literally have to. I mean, literally, I keep copies of my previous SF-86, which is the form to apply for. I have encyclopedia volumes of those motherfuckers, and so that way I know any engagement that I get into, any not marriage, but any type of foreign relation engagement that it has to do with mill to mill, or it has to do with me talking to somebody from another country. I write that shit down and I go to my security manager. It's like, hey, what happened? We had the Ukrainians visiting and blah 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 blah. And we also had some other blah 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 blah. And then we were talking to that, and we had we did some badge exchanges, and then we shot some shit in the range, and then while we were hanging around, we were watching rockets flying in the air and all that. We were laughing because some rockets landed near them, and we're all.
Every one of those activities could be a fucking sexual euphemism.
Well, that's why I was saying it. That's why I was saying it like. That's why I was saying it like that. So that way it could go there. Because I could just say, oh, we're just talking about sex. But anyways, and who had to say that the Ukrainians were fucking dudes? Adidas tracksuits matter. My point is that you have to delineate all that, and it's easy. You're not hiding anything. That was the issue. If you hide something and it's discovered, then that's when it looks bad for you.
Yes.
That's when it looks bad for you, because you would go and say, well, ICE, it says right here, blah, 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 but you were seeing this, and this, and you're thinking, fuck, how the fuck did they know about that shit? That gets, oh, fuck.
Yeah, but when you're a fucking disgusting granola munching fucking troll, it looks bad when you're married to a gorgeous woman and you're a fucking successful son-in-law to the president of the United States.
Correct. As
well.
Correct. So that's what currently is his status of clearance. So right now his clearance is got some issues because he did not disclose foreign contacts. Now it doesn't mean now, first off, for the fuckers that are talking about, oh, he's got foreign contacts. Well, motherfucker, aren't you the ones that saying that Americans shouldn't be xenophobic? Everyone should be supposedly be talking to immigrants anyways, right? Well, fuck, I can go right down the street and talk to Arov, my fucking neighbor, and he's from India.
I had foreign contacts. I was married to a German woman.
Well, yeah, there you go.
For a short period of time.
Yeah. So my whole point.
Which,
go ahead.
You should ask permission from your S2 before you marry foreigners. Just
exactly.
Pro tip.
Exactly. If all of a sudden a gorgeous woman is asking you for, hey, what you do, and thinks that you're so strong and you look like fucking you're missing some chromosomes, there's a fucking issue. How are you talking about me? Even
that
Calfman.
explains why the marriage was so short. Thank you, Ice, for boosting my self-confidence.
Well, that's why Calfman has a bunch of them. You know what I mean?
So, dude, fuck it, man. Get it while you can.
Get it while you're young, and get it while it's
I
hot.
think it was one of those. It was one of those.
That
I'm gonna.
thing? It's like, doesn't matter. Still had sex.
Exactly.
It was one of those, oh, he's ugly as shit. I'm gonna exploit the fuck out of him. And then, oh,
Yeah, dude. But
No,
it
actually-
was-
no,
was
fucking
it-
thing. He's a goddamn tanker.
No.
Yeah,
You don't
dude,
know
but if you are legitimately in need of chromosomes and you get to bang out something that's fucking gold plated, it might be like, what's it worth to you? You know?
Yeah,
She
exactly.
Didn't,
And
she
now,
didn't like
again,
the idea that the extent of my security clearance was I knew where the keys to the motor pool were.
there you go.
That's it.
Like, there you go. You know, well, you never know. That might be some information that
Yeah,
a foreign
exactly.
a foreign adversary might want, because that's usually what they do. You know, again, I have, because of my multiple language abilities, a fucking. All right, Sneaker.
Everything is exploitable.
Yeah,
man.
exactly. All right, so you can speak this language. Well, and that's why I have a lot of ex-wives too, because they're like, if you do this, we will tell your ex-wife. We will tell your wife. Well, go ahead. And then I'm like, hey, we're getting a divorce. Why? Because this fucking foreign agent is gonna say some shit about you. So we're done. I don't give a fuck about. We're done.
We're done because you're like, according to the policy changes now, your security fucking, what is it, like, potential compromise to security. Sorry,
Yeah.
baby, gotta get
Yeah,
divorced.
you gotta get divorced.
Ice only
Exactly.
marries women named Felicia. Makes it a lot easier. A lot easier.
Would you say a lot
Not as
sleazier?
much shit to remember on the SF-86,
was
and when
it
it's all said and done, bye, Felicia.
Exactly. No. Well, you said a lot sleazier, so I was gonna go with you on that one too. No, but my whole point being though is that you have even you have to say. That's why when people start talking about the full scope fucking poly, people really fucking get uh-oh. If you've never had a full scope poly, they're gonna ask you control questions that they know is fucking legit on an answer that's obviously like, what color is your hair? My hair is brown and gray. Okay.
I can't
What color
remember.
are your eyes?
When the doll did the DOD touch you.
And exactly that. Have you ever been molested? And you were like, what? What did you say? Have you ever been molested? Have you ever thought of having sex with small
Have you ever
animals?
been molested by?
But yeah,
a
exactly.
family member?
Have you ever been?
paid?
Extended
Have you
family
ever
member.
paid to have sex with a man?
Yeah, exactly. Have you been with men?
No.
Are you attracted? You know, they'll ask
Did you know?
Yeah.
Did you find out later that you paid to have sex with a man?
Yeah. Exactly. How many hookers do you go through a week?
At that point, you're sitting there. You're like, fucking, like, dude, what, like, you fucking serious right now?
Exactly. That's a
And,
first.
and then your top secret gets reduced, and you make the news.
Yeah. Exactly.
Just because you
Just because you
banged a dude, but you didn't even fucking know that it was a dude
Yeah.
to begin with.
And it wasn't
Like-
even really paying for sex. It was you tipped your roommate in college that
Was
for
it?
a friend.
But if you're legit,
I'm gonna shut up.
Yeah.
Jesus
but
Christ.
anyways, but those polys will ask you questions, and they're not judging you. They're not judging you. They're going to see if you're being truthful in the answers that you give, because every poly is obviously it's lock and key and it's done. They don't tell you. You didn't say, it's not like fucking Maury and shit where the fucking after the test's done you're gonna have your whole unit in front of you in a big formation going, all right, when you said that you did not bang goats on top of the Afghan mountainside, that was proved. That's a lie. You know what I mean? Oh, Maury. That doesn't happen. No one's gonna fucking do that.
They act almost like the host from the Weakest Link.
Yeah, dude. They're like
Very flat, dry, monotone.
yeah, and you know you're fucking in trouble. You're like fucking in trouble. You're like you feel like you've done something wrong. You're like, hi, my name is blah blah blah. Today I'm going to be your examiner for your poly. Just make sure you relax.
Well,
Do you smoke cigarettes?
They set the
Do you want a cigarette?
fucking stage, man. Like
Yeah.
they control. It's a control thing, right?
Oh, yeah,
like
it is.
they want to have not want to. It's necessary for that shit to go. There's a lot of stuff. Let's just say there's a lot of. It's not just fucking Jason Bourne sitting there fucking punching his dick with a fucking tack through his pocket
Matt
during the
Damon.
control questions.
Matt
It's
Damon.
more complicated than that.
Yeah, it's not one of those things where you can sit there and just it's well, my whole point being is that if you fuck that up, they're just gonna say, hey, you didn't get it, man. That's it. You're not gonna be judged. You're not, because I have known individuals.
You're not going to go to jail.
Yeah, you're not going to go to jail for whatever. Now, it's when you are not truthful and they discover that in you not being truthful is revealing to something that could be a detriment to our nation's security, then that's when they're going to have an issue. That's when all of a sudden you're going to see a black sandbag over your fucking head, and then next thing you're going to wake up hearing Spanish and some fucking weird monotone noises.
And then Matt Damon's going to be punching a tack into your dick.
And then,
Hi,
and then your
guys.
fucking roommate
Matt
shows up
Damon.
and goes, "Yeah, he paid me $10 to have sex with him." Shit.
Exactly.
Damn, dude. So,
I
and
should have paid him more.
some fuckhead sitting there writing this shit down, and we're gonna see it as like the next day.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Video fucking Matt Damon
Then the next
punching dicks with tacks.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how Mission Impossible ends. Is Tom Cruise gets his security clearance revoked because he didn't disclose he had gay sex in college.
Yeah, or is actually 5'1" instead of 5'8". But yeah, so it's funny. Everyone freaking laughs. They're like, "Well, you could do this, you could do that." Now, of course, I'm just giving you examples of questions because of you have to sign forms and non-disclosure agreements of the questions that you ever had on your poly. But they are those like type questions, and it's how you answer. They'll ask you, look, like I said, they'll ask you the control questions. They'll sit there and give you, do you smoke or whatever? Because that way they can, are you always fidgety or whatever? Are you always like this? You have any tics? You have this, and this? Because they're going to see that, and obviously these guys are trained.
Just when I'm lying.
Yeah, exactly. Do they have any tics? Only when I pull it back. Only when I pull the fucking hammer back.
Why do you ask?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not going to say I'm fidgety, but I do have a fidget spinner on my rifle.
It's like, are you worried?
Yeah, exactly. No, are you worried?
No, why? But why?
Exactly. How about you? Are you worried? Why should I be worried? I'm the one giving the exam. No,
yeah, dude. That's exactly. It's like, please stop answering questions with a question, sir.
Exactly. I've done that before too.
$10 not enough?
I've done that before too. No, I have done that before too. It was almost like an R. Kelly.
That question.
Yeah, it's almost like an R. Kelly question. Why are you making videos about pissing on girls? Why are you making videos about pissing on girls?
Why aren't you? Why aren't you making videos?
Exactly. Oh man, it's fucking
Depends on
awesome.
what definition of the word video is.
Yeah, exactly. And what pissing is. So, anyways, that's the elevation. So now your clearance lasts, and it's changing now. I think it's already changed that your secret clearance is good for 10 years. Once you have your clearance up and done, your investigation is complete, and you're granted access and you're good to have in your access to fucking go into any type of level of classification. You have a TS that's good for 10 years. I mean, you have a secret that's good for 10 years, and you have a secret TS that's good for 7. However, I normally around 2 years out fucking get my shit together and just submit it, so that way you're good to go.
I thought it was only 5.
They raised it up. They changed it.
Oh, I'm old school. Then.
Well, no. It's because I don't know, Quagmire, Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Constant deployments, that type of shit. So what's going to end up happening is then you go through that whole time and your clearance is granted. Your clearance is good from the date of your completed investigation date. So if your investigation was completed in 1994, then you're fucking, or 1995, then 10 years from that is going to be how long your clearance is going to last. Same thing with the TS. So it's really fucking easy. Really easy. Again, foreign contacts, don't fucking lie on your SF-86, disclose everything, and that's it. Too fucking easy. It is really fucking easy. Now,
admit nothing, deny everything, make counter accusations.
Now,
I thought that was the MP4 motto.
But they'll pick up on that pretty quick.
Yeah, they will. I was about to say they'll catch it.
Yeah.
Now, so here's the thing. How can I say this? I'm trying to. Well, then I won't say it.
Who does number 2 work for?
Exactly. if I have to figure out another way to say it, what was my security guy saying? That don't say it. The whole point being is that it was the disclosures. Now I was telling you about how easy you could lose it if there's anything that you do, like a speeding ticket, anything that happens that has to do with the law, anything that has to do with fucking credit, anything that has to do with litigation, like if you're suing somebody or you're getting sued, or you got busted for, you almost got busted for reckless driving because you were hauling ass, going 80 miles an hour down a fucking highway when you're, like 55 or something like that. And you just report everything to the security manager, especially if you hold a TS. So if you just go, hey, here's my fucking ticket, and then they're going to laugh at you, and they keep a copy of it, bam, 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 bam. And then they'll say, hey, just make sure you disclose in your SF-86 when you do your periodic reinvestigation. Now, periodic reinvestigation is exactly what it sounds like. At the end of that classification access that you have, 10 years or 7 years, then you will have to go ahead and do that SF-86. And if you do it quick and you get it turned in and don't let the clearance expire, it'll be easy.
You're good.
You're good. It's that fucking simple. So something that mundane, and then you tell the fucking S2 guy to give you your passport. It's that fucking mundane. It's that dry. It is that fucking dry. That's how dry it is. However, you big three out there going, fucking because he had foreign contacts and it could possibly be from the Russian law. I talk to everybody. Everybody.
Security clearances and all that mysterious bullshit is boring as fuck once you get into it.
Oh my God, yes, dude.
There's some. It's boring as fuck.
It is. It's real boring.
You have to have a security clearance to know this? Oh.
Well,
okay.
unless you're, trying to subvert people working for the intelligence agencies.
Half the shit.
Good.
Half the shit that I was told I needed a security clearance to know, I was like, okay, it doesn't seem like that's security clearance level shit, but okay.
Yeah.
It's boring.
It is.
Dry.
It's dry.
Like, for most of us that have been in for any period of time, the security clearance thing is almost like an afterthought.
It's almost like tying your shoes type thing. It's almost expected that everybody knows, just like you're supposed to get. I don't want to say it. You're supposed to get your med pros. You're supposed to get your fucking shots. You're supposed to get anything that's expected in the military, or at least in the DoD, that it's expected of you for your position and your rank. Everybody knows you got to get up, show formation, fall in, receive the report.
Security clearance.
Unless you're like in the SFAB and you're just like can't get a real fucking tab, and you're just fucking waiting for that security clearance to hit so you could put it on your LinkedIn profile, because that's like the fucking hottest fucking badge you're gonna get in your life.
Dude,
okay.
You're like, oh, please exploit me.
I was waiting.
Stop
waiting for
talking about the SFAB because I got to deal with them fuckers every time I go to the PX commissary.
I was about to say I was waiting for a show with no SFAB discussion, and it never fails. Every time
No.
But that's why those caveats were created, so that way, individuals who can't get clearances can't get the higher level,
the SFAB dudes can get laid,
so they can get read on. Are you read on? Huh? Are you read on? Dude, it's just
just jerked on.
It's just a clearance, but you got to be read on. And talking to the SFAB guys are like that. I can't talk to you. You have to be read on. What the fuck did you say? I was the one that wrote your fucking brief, son.
Check my LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, exactly. Check my LinkedIn profile.
It's pretty accurate.
Yeah, exactly, like Rick and Morty, like loser. Advisor. Morty, look at these advisors. Love it.
Morty, pull the lanyard, Morty. The payoff's going to be huge. I turned myself into an artillery shell, Morty. I'm artillery!
They got tabs now.
Morty, they got tabs and berets. They're not green anymore, they're brown.
Wait, but
we gotta find another
when they fade, they're going to be tan.
They're going to be tan because they're simulating being out in the desert, training with the troop. They're the tab the bird
because they can't get ranger tabs either.
Because
in this reality SFAB,
in this reality SFAB,
they think they are something.
In this reality SFAB, the beret color is not the color of the people that you fucking advise.
I'm gonna need you to stick your SFAB way up in your butthole.
Oh my god.
Oh
man, but what was saying? Oh yeah, so the caveats would be given. The caveats would be
the SFAB.
Yeah, like I said, we get freaking goddamn it, dude. We ended up going into fucking Pickle Rick mode.
We're such fucking people are like, what a bunch of fucking haters.
I know
like, all the SFAB dudes like,
Oh my,
The fucking haters,
Dude.
fucking haters,
dude, man,
man.
they when there's shit posted on the main page, they are literally fucking. I mean, I know friends of communities, you know, me and Doc, and they don't realize who they're talking to.
Yeah.
They're like, "Fuck you, man! You're just being a hater." And I'm talking, and one of my buddies who's, mad into fucking all that type of stuff, and then he's like, "Oh, you're just hating," and you look at him, he's like this little. Fuck you guys.
It's like, yeah, we're hating. Tell me how you tell me fucking how you got hurt in selection and didn't quit. Like, fuck you.
Oh man. I love it. I love it.
At
So
least they're not locked down in a motor pool.
oh yeah. Yeah, about that. How you doing, Fourth ID? I heard the lockdown's over and done with, so was that really worth it?
Did you get jailed?
Did you get jailed? Who cares, Morty? Global acts of terrorism every day. The whole point being, yeah, we're gonna get to them in a minute. We're gonna take a break. Wait, is it too early to take a break? Are we done talking about the clearances now? We've established the clearancesness.
Does everybody fucking understand?
dude,
I'm
it's
giving you
neat
the
to
knife
know.
hand over the radio. Do you understand? Do you have any more questions?
Yeah.
Are there any questions in the back?
Exactly.
It's neat to know. People that talk about it, they're gonna be fucking usually if they're giving you very explicit parameters to shit, which we were not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's fucking neat to know, dude. Like, fuck them, fucking
We've-
haters.
We've read you
God damn
on
it.
as far as you're going to get read on. You don't need to know anything else.
Yeah,
Class
dude, we're not
dismissed.
prostitutes. We're not gonna jerk you off.
Exactly. So my whole point being is the fact that you have to understand that, again, the level of access of clearance, the caveats, the levels, and of need to know is too easy, and that's it. That's how, again, it's not like SVABing. It's not like SVABing and doing this because one takes brains, the other takes dark eyeliner, right? SVAB. The whole should I do it in the no, one takes brains and the other takes dark eyeliner, SVAB. Dude, I'm gonna watch Rick and Morty as soon as I'm done with the show. I fucking love
Jesus Christ, dude.
Oh man,
We
I
could probably
love
make a skit, dude. Like, we could splice like the video
Yeah.
and like make our, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah, we can make our own
S-
SVAB video. Yeah, we could do
Well,
that.
what about SFAB?
Yeah.
Fuck SFAB.
Poor SF, man. They get no love, man. This is bullshit.
I gotta.
What is my purpose? To advise. Oh,
Oh, advisor.
the little fucking
Jesus.
the butter
Stop
passing
it.
robot.
Stop it.
Oh man.
Like, literally, that's gonna, like, I'm kind of scared that I might, like, trigger some sleeper cell shit in the back of my fucking head. What is he doing? He was advising.
Exactly.
Breaking news.
Advice.
Forceful advising happening at the library.
Oh man. Oh shit. We're gonna go ahead and take a break. So that way we can get our guests on, and hopefully we didn't chase him off, or if he's listening or not. So that way, freaking. Yeah, what I don't want to do is, well, actually no, he's whatever. He's gonna come
Fuck
on.
this shit, I'm out.
He's gonna look at this shit and go,
Fuck
So anyways,
this shit, I'm
Yeah,
out.
exactly. Hey, so real quick, I just want to say to one of our favorite some of the people that have provided music to us. I just want to wish June Wolfsberg alles Gute Besserung from euer Familie from VTF Radio. And so if you guys again get well and we're rocking your tunes. June Wolfsberg was hospitalized, and so she had a sudden hospitalization. So I want to go ahead and say, hey, get well from WTF Nation Radio.
And in the spirit of getting punked, everybody that's listening, I have to add ICE as a foreign contact.
Oh shit! Now, God damn it!
Everybody who's you're lucky she's not Russian.
Stabbing dick with pin intent.
Exactly. You're lucky she's not Russian, Romanian, Bulgarian, or Hungarian, Czech, Ukrainian. Dobro dan. Okay, so anyways. We'll be back.
Semitic.
Semitic and Slavic. All right, shots.
Redacted
Warning.
shot.
Well, it definitely is all about the visuals, although pretty sure it's illegal.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
I am here determined to stop this future atrocity.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
And we're back. Part 2, Sergeant's Time on this 1 March 2018. And we have our special guest, really special guest, Joe Plenzler from the American Legion, like the American Legion, guys, gals. What's going on, Joe?
Hey, how's it going?
So, you're like the media director for like the entire American Legion?
Yeah, we have 2 headquarters. The main one's in Indianapolis, and then we have our national headquarters in Washington D.C. So I'm in that shop over there.
Okay. And how long have you been doing that?
I've been there about a year. So, yeah, just a short period of time, actually.
All right. We're going to ask you some questions, right?
Yeah, this is how this goes, right?
Yeah, some people are not afraid, but some people have concerns coming on here due to the fact that we're the first, I think, is it true that we're the first unregulated radio that you're going to be talking to?
Not in my lifetime, no.
No, I mean, like as far
maybe
as
this job. But...
Yeah, exactly. That was my point. We thank you for coming on. I know the American Legion is I don't know. What made you want to come on to WTF Nation Radio as far as representing the American Legion?
Well, y'all reached out to us, so I figured we'd give you a chat, and then Flash came out to our legislative conference here in Washington D.C. Just this week, so. We met, and he asked if we'd go on the show, and I said, yeah, why not? It seems like, we're always trying to be relevant to the lives of younger veterans, and you certainly have that audience, so it just kind of made sense.
That's awesome. So we appreciate you coming on.
Sure.
Now, are you seeing a decline with the younger generation being involved in the American Legion?
I think our membership has always been a little bit older. What we're seeing is a change in demographics right now, and that's the thing that kind of concerns me, because like today we have about 22 million veterans in the United States, and last year was the first year that there were more like post-Gulf War veterans than Vietnam veterans. And if the current trajectory keeps going down and we don't have a draft or anything like that, by 2043 there'll be under 15 million veterans in the United States.
Wow.
Yeah. Right.
Whoa. Yeah. Now, is it not? I mean, we're gonna have to obviously discuss the differences between the generations. Is it due to the fact that because, like you said, we had a draft?
Yeah, I mean, it's a product. It's kind of like the double-edged sword of the all-volunteer force, right? Because before, more people served, fewer tours, and ever since we went to the all-volunteer force in the mid-'70s, you've had fewer people serving more, and especially since 9/11, I mean, you have like less than 1% of the country serving in uniform. And I mean, it's not uncommon. I mean, how many tours did y'all do in Iraq and Afghanistan over the years? Count them up. It's
fuck ton.
Yeah, a ton, right?
Exactly.
So,
yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right, man.
Yeah, and that's the doctrinal term
burden, for it. Same burden shared. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Same burden shared by fewer people. If it's not mandatory.
Yeah, exactly that. It's not. No unit's going to pony up their troops to go do it when they have their own rotations to worry about. So
and I think, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, and I was going to say, I think the Army probably had it worse than anyone, because I remember, here in the Marine Corps, we were doing like 6, 7, 12-month tours if you're on a division staff. And I heard about Army units doing like 18 months straight.
Yep.
In like the mid 2000s. And I was like, good Lord.
Yep. They were doing They were initially going in there for at least 9 months for the initial, and then as the Muqtada Sadr uprising in Iraq picked up, and then all the fighting picked up in Afghanistan, and they got extended to 12, 14, like you said, up to 18 months. I've known units that have been almost 20 months.
And initial wave, dude. Initial wave into Iraq, dudes got extended. Fucking, that was like stop loss shit, you know. So I know I remember that's not standard either. That was like probably like one time, really.
Right.
But it was still, there was that first wave. Dudes stayed out for like 2 years, like initially, almost 2 years. I don't want to say exactly, but yeah.
No, but that makes sense. But I mean, that's why we're seeing a decline in numbers. I mean, not just that, but you have like the World War II vets are almost all gone. The Korea vets are dying off. The Vietnam vets and the boomers are starting to die off.
Do you think that the declining number of veterans is contributing to the division in the culture between civilian and military?
There's a theory about that.
To it?
Yeah, and I don't know. I know Corey Shockey recently wrote a book about that. General Mattis had his name on the front cover too, and it's funny because like people are unfamiliar, generally with the the military itself, but the military is still held in pretty high regard, which is kind of an interesting thing, right? And when you look at the all-volunteer force, to me anyway, and tell me if you disagree, but the double-edged sword is that you have a more professional military than you would with conscripts, but on the flip side, the government can send that military to war, more frequently. And the civilian population really doesn't have a skin in the game, right? Because there's no war tax, there's no draft. We're still riding on a flimsy authorization for the use of military force that was designed to go after Al Qaeda.
To include the budget too.
Yeah, but that's interesting. Like that's an economist, like economics analysis, right? Like from that perspective, looking at demographics, different contributing factors. I would say that's like large, like very difficult qualitative like analysis to make accurately. It's, I mean, because you could argue from the other side that more professional army that's smaller, that's less people that are less likely to make asses of themselves, regardless of what the media spins out, like the personal interaction of day-to-day civilians with military is going to be more pleasant, or we assume it would be more pleasant because, people that want to serve are more professional. They're not going to,
Yeah.
And I'm not even talking about like the shit like war crimes or any of that shit. I'm talking about like straight up.
Just day to day.
Day-to-day interaction. Dude gets out. He wanted to be there. He's going to have positive shit to say about it.
Oh, absolutely.
Like that.
Absolutely.
So that leads into my next question for you, Joe, is with the declining veteran population, you said it's forecasted to come down to 15 million.
Below 15 million.
Below 15 million veteran population, most civilians are not going to have day-to-day interactions with veterans. And what they see is what the media feeds them, soldiers chucking puppies off of cliffs and Apache pilots shooting at videographers. What role does the American Legion play in, for lack of a better term, public relations between civilian population and that declining military population?
Yeah, and I'm glad you asked that because right now we have 2 million veterans on the books. So the American Legion is the oldest congressionally chartered veteran service organization, and we're also the largest. Okay. And we have 13,000 posts all around the United States and a few around the world as well. And these folks, I mean, are pretty deeply rooted in their communities. And I don't know, like I grew up in a Polish Catholic neighborhood in Northwest Ohio, and I swear to God, like every family function I ever went to involved a polka band and either a VFW, hall or American Legion post. And like everyone's wedding receptions, baptisms, like all the family parties, we were always kind of down at one or the other. And, they also run like youth baseball programs. They run scholarships. They have, oratoricals. They do a lot of homeless outreach to, homeless veterans and help. I think one of the most important things at the grassroots level is that they help veterans access the VA, right? And so if they need help filing an initial claim, they can do that. If they're having trouble, getting access to care, they can help with that. If they're having trouble filing an appeal, right? We specialize in that. We have a pretty high success rate with that. So
veteran service officers that like specifically trained by the VA Like,
Correct.
Like, in order to understand the fucking VA lingo,
That's
I
right.
can sit there and interpret the shit for you, so you're not going into the VA all fucking pissed off because some asshole is telling you that you didn't fill the form out right, and you've been waiting 6 months that they didn't fucking tell you that it was filled out incorrectly.
Exactly.
Yeah, dude, I've had a lot of positive experience with not just like with and I'm in Colorado. We got like 3 major ones, like DFW, the DAV, and the Legion.
Yeah.
Those are like the major ones, and you know, like, they're national organizations, so they're actually like, from what I've noticed, because I've done a lot of like work with veterans like across the country, just through like social media shit, and it varies. The resources vary by post, and I think it's good, like, because the people, those like individual local chapters, kind of like, they determine, like, you know, if they have a solid pulse on the community, they know, like you're saying, the Polish Catholics, like, they're you know, actively involved in the community and helping people out, like shit like that. It's good shit, man. I'm totally fucking all for it too.
No, I'm glad you had a good experience with it. I mean, it is important, and I think you know they're the ones that show up, right? And we just had a few thousand of them come here to DC to, you know, from all over the country this week to go talk to their elected officials on the Hill. And, you know, so that grassroots kind of activism matters. And here's why it matters, because when our office in Washington, D.C., you can think of us as the lobbying and policy shop for 2 million veterans around the United States, right? You know, we directly represent those, and we look after the interests of the other, 20 million. And, you know, it really helps us out a lot when we can walk into a senator or representative's office and remind them that we have 2 million members, right? And these are pretty activated folks. They vote. And, you know, if they're going to vote against veterans' interest, you know, we're going to gin up the machine and flood their offices with calls and remind them, you know, every time it comes to November about how they stood on taking care of vets. And when you think, and so, you know, I say that because as you're looking at the overall veteran population decline, with that goes political power, right? And that's important because if you don't think that there's folks on the Hill right now who have the budget cutting knives out that are looking to carve off every little piece of the federal budget, you're wrong, because they are, and they're actively trying to do that every day. And so we see our job as making sure that politicians keep the promises that they made to veterans before the war, you know, during the war and after the war, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's the voice for our fucking, you know, like that we're stakeholders, but without a voice in it, we're gonna be dismissed. It's like it's
that's right.
Any democratic process, or we'll say, you know, roughly democratic, you have to have a voice to democratic representatives.
Sure.
To otherwise, like the budget shit, dude. It's everywhere in the government. Anybody that's like, even an army, right? Like, you get a budget, and if you don't, everyone's always constantly fucking trying to get a little bit more, but that means somebody else is gonna get, you know, fucked.
Right.
Like, plainly or bluntly, but still.
No, but you're right, because, like, you know, we like to forget a lot of our history, and if you look all the way back to the Revolution, right, the whole reason Shays' Rebellion happened was because the government wasn't keeping promises to veterans, right?
Exactly.
You know, you had, God, what percentage? It was something like almost 20% of Winfield Scott's army in the Mexican War deserted. Right?
Yeah.
And I'll double check that stat, but it was a sizable amount. I mean, you know, like, we haven't always done a great job of taking care of veterans. And I'll give you an example. Like, after the Spanish-American War, they had something like 30,000 sick and dying GIs in tents out on Long Island at a place called Camp Wyckoff. And more soldiers died due to sickness and disease in that, you know, in these field conditions without proper food and water and sanitation, you know, on Long Island than they did on any battlefield during the entire, you know, Mexico or the Spanish-American War. And the only way the public found out about that was because these sick, you know, soldiers were stumbling into Manhattan, and people were like, "Where the hell did they come from?" You know, and so, you know, we've done Veterans Affairs, you know, better and worse at different points in our history. I think, you know, like World War One.
The bonus army.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say the bonus army insurrection.
Bonus army, right?
Oh my God! Yeah, was waiting for you to mention that because a lot of because I'm the older one of the crew here, and so so we talk about
served in World War One.
But
easy now because I'm sure I'm older than all of you.
So the same thing with the bonus army is the fact that our Congress voted to give us a bonus to go overseas, and then when we came back, then no, you're getting nothing. You're not going to have your certificates are not redeemable until 1945 because we just have the Great Depression going on, and then you're done. And so that's when all the veterans went to the Capitol and pretty much camped out until
until MacArthur and Eisenhower ran them off at bayonet point and tear gas.
With Patton leading one of the divisions too, one of the companies too. So yeah,
that's right.
So it's that history that I'm glad the American Legion has decided to because you guys were created in 1919. And also led the movement for more bonuses, 2 additional. It's like, hey, wait a minute, these guys are getting $1.25 or something like that for a bonus, which back in the day obviously was pretty substantial.
Yeah.
So you guys were involved in the Adjusted Compensation Act. I am looking forward to seeing, and I'm actually glad to see you guys. I don't want to say start to catch up, but sounds like to me you're starting to catch up. If that makes any sense.
Good.
Almost like, what took you so long? 20 years almost in a war in the Middle East, and now, and I can't wait to say this right now, you guys are discussing and advocating through the VA for medicinal marijuana use.
Absolutely.
Tell us about that.
We're advocating for research right now.
Go for it.
And you have to understand, like, the Legion is like structurally we're the exact opposite of the military, where the military is like top down, right? You walk in the door.
Fuck yeah, dude! Preach on.
But
I love this.
You walk in the door at the Legion, and nobody gives a rat's ass what your rank was on active duty. You could be walking in as a 4-star or walking in as a twice reduced private, and a vet's a vet. They really don't give a crap what your rank was.
Exactly.
And so
organizationally, you guys have like a cellular structure where people aren't waiting for top-down guidance to do shit. Like, they're autonomous. Like, the different fucking regional posts run their own shit. And I think, dude, communications right now, it's so fast that any
I think
it's not going to be sustainable.
No, but
so go on the research.
My phone just fucking
your phone just took a crap, man, or something, because you cut off for a second. So go back on the subject of the research for medicinal marijuana.
Yeah, it's a really bottom-up organization, right? So we don't take a policy position here in D.C. unless we have the consensus of our membership. And so back in 2015, 2016 timeframe, we had a bunch of Iraq and Afghanistan vets come into, contacting our office saying, hey, we've been on all these damn zombie drugs from the VA, suffering from PTSD, TBI, chronic pain, you name it. And, we tried cannabis and we're getting better healthcare outcomes. And, they were super persistent, which was great because our VA policy director, a guy named Lou Celli, who's very science-minded, was like, and this is like, a 20-year retired Army Master Sergeant, former deputy sheriff, not the guy you think would be like, at first blush, interested in cannabis whatsoever. And, but they kept on coming to him and he's like, you know what? All right, show me what you got. And so then he challenged his staff to pull up all the data they could find, all the studies, all the reports, pro and against, right? Because he has to take it to his committee, which, are a bunch of guys in their 70s and some in their 80s, and convince them, right? And so he did. And, back with a bunch of medical reports and research, papers from around the world, he was like, hey, listen, if vets are telling us that this is helping them, and it's still a class 1 or schedule 1 drug by the DEA standards, shouldn't we advocate for research? And by and large, you got really overwhelming support, which is really kind of surprising when you think about it. And so that's what they agreed on. They agreed on advocating for cannabis to be removed from Schedule 1 of the Controlled Substances Act, and so that more medical researchers could have easier access to the drug to research, the medicinal properties of it. And even though there's 22,000 studies done around the world already on the books, right? The U.S. government's only going to accept the clinical trials that are done here in the United States, which is a big part of the problem. And the other part of the problem is that the University of Mississippi's got a monopoly on cultivation for research purposes. And so that was the second part of that resolution we had in the summer of 2016, was to bust up that monopoly so that you could have more providers providing, the drug for research. And here's an example, right? Like we're collaborating with a woman named Dr. Sue Sicily in Arizona, and she's got the nation's first and only FDA and DEA approved triple-blind study on cannabis and its effects on what did she put it, like chronic treatment-resistant PTSD. And so she's got this protocol going out there right now in Scottsdale. And when NIDA, which is the National Institute for Drug, I can't remember the last part of that, but they're the people that you have to apply to get research, approval, and then also to get, cannabis to research. And they sent it to you from the University of Mississippi. And when it showed up, it was like this gray powder. It wasn't like any flower you've ever seen. It was just this dust. And when she was asking the government, she's like, hey, well, what's in this? And they're like, well, we can't tell you. And she's like, well, this is really weird because I know there's like, THC compounds or CBD compounds, or they exist in different plants in different percentages. So she had to cold call around the country to find a Schedule I lab, because drug labs aren't allowed to advertise that they're Schedule I labs, according to Dr. Sicily. So it took her a few months to find a lab. She finally sent a sample out. It came back. It had high quantities of lead in there, had mold in there, and she's like, I don't even know if it's ethical for me to administer this to my patients, right? So they finally got this squared away. But I mean, I'm just describing that because these are just a few of the research hurdles you have to go through to get approved to even study the drug, because it's Schedule I. And so, that's why we're advocating for it to come off of Schedule I. Where it goes from there, we're really agnostic about that at this point, and we're advocating for busting up the monopoly on the production. So, go ahead.
Laced with lead and mold, it sounds kind of sketchy, like they were almost trying to shoot the research in a foot to force it to fail.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to cast any aspersions. I mean, I'll leave that,
I'll put on a tinfoil hat. I have no problem doing that.
Yeah, but like, when you visit other, dispensaries and grows around the country in states that have medical programs where they're actually cultivating it, and you go to these grows, I mean, they are, tightly run operations, hydroponics, like they know exactly down to the decimal point what the THC versus CBD, percentages are. So it's interesting watching all that and then looking at what the government's doing, right? And so, that was kind of the guts behind the whole effort. And then and the other thing too is it's intellectually dishonest, right? When you look at, there's a great report that was put out by the National Institute of Science, Engineering, and Medicine, right? These are the doctors and scientists that are their whole responsibility is to advise the government on science matters. And they put out a meta-analysis in January in 2017 where they researched, they did a meta-analysis over 10,000 different studies and abstracts and papers. And they said, at least for reduced nausea in cancer patients, like, chemotherapy patients, reduced spasticity in MS patients, and, for treating chronic pain, they seem to think that there's fairly significant evidence in the body of knowledge that's existing that, cannabis has efficacy in this regard. And so, when you look at all the Schedule I drugs, right? And by Schedule I, I mean the federal government says that they're the most dangerous and have no medical value, right? It's like ecstasy, MDMA, or same thing, I guess, LSD, heroin. Cannabis is like right up there, right? And then all the Schedule II drugs that all the opioids that are people are killing themselves with, every day are Schedule II drugs. So like the ones that are coming out from big pharma that people are overdosing.
I was just about ready to ask you that. I was just about
the level
go ahead.
below. Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah,
right?
I was about ready to ask you that.
And,
is there now, because you're up there in DC and you're dealing with that as the American Legion, obviously there's big pharma up there looking at you too. Have you? I mean, you don't have to be specific, but has there been some legit pushback? I mean, like you could see, or you could tell there has been some monopolizing, like you say, of other sciences to prevent the expansion of that study.
Yeah, I mean, there's definite opposition. I mean, we don't feel, at least from my perspective, we don't feel direct pushback against us. But I've got to think there's other people tromping up to the hill, right, to talk to legislators, because you know this almost makes too much sense not to happen. Like we did a nationwide study of veteran households last fall, and we found that 92% were in favor of medical cannabis research.
Absolutely.
And about 83% wished that cannabis was a federally legal treatment option in their state, right? Yeah. And so, you know, when you look at national trends, I mean, the support for medical cannabis is above 80% nationwide. And, you know, and then you just got to scratch your head saying, God, in any political conversation, that's a landslide victory. Why aren't things moving forward, right? But I'll tell you, like the people who are involved with this on the Hill in DC said that when the American Legion, you know, came into space and started advocating for research, it moved the needle, right? It really disrupted the conversation and moved it forward a couple of steps, which, you know, I feel pretty good about. Because, you know, like I said, you know, I don't want to read too much into it, but what we're advocating for is research, and we're agnostic about the outcome.
Of course, of course.
And so, you know, that was the position that our membership was comfortable with. But, you know, between you and me, I've read enough now to think that there's definitely something there. You know, that's just me personally, not speaking for the organization, but you know, I'm excited to see where this is going to go. I think it's going to happen eventually, right?
It's got to.
Yeah. And the states have already led. I mean, I think like 30 states already have medical cannabis laws on the books. So, you know.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, exactly that.
States that are just kind of writing their own rules when it comes to medical marijuana, and organizations like the American Legion pushing for federal descheduling of it. I think what we're waiting for is the old bureaucrats for lack of a better term, the old bureaucrats to die.
Yeah, I was about ready to say that
we
too.
can have a new mindset in there.
Exactly.
In leadership in politics.
Exactly.
Yeah, or just to leave Congress, right?
Yeah.
And most of those guys don't leave until they die.
Until they die.
Right.
Now, do you think, Joe? Do you think, Joe, that I mean, this must have been hard to push or to pitch to the American Legion leadership to be able to say without having, like you said, without having some detailed facts. Were you able? Was it easily pitched? Like the leadership of the American Legion, were they receptive to that, or was it one of those things where like, yeah, okay, we'll see what happens and we'll next, you know what I mean? How were they receptive to it?
The story, and I wasn't there for that convention, so you know I didn't join until about last year this time, and this would have been August of 2016. The guy that did it, our VA policy lead, a guy named Lou Celli, said that, you know, initially the leadership was nervous about it, but when they took it before the membership, there was pretty overwhelming support. And, you know, you think about it, a lot of these guys had served in Vietnam. And so, you know, many of them were familiar with cannabis already. And, you know, even in our survey, we found out that 20% of veterans, or at least the households we contacted, you know, were using or had used cannabis to treat a medical condition, which was pretty interesting. And so, you know, according to Lou, once it was discussed and the evidence was laid out, you know, it was pretty unanimous support. I mean, and it had to be because we actually got a resolution passed, right? And so at last summer's convention, the interesting thing is we, out of the state of Ohio, a resolution came up that was passed that said, hey, in states where medical cannabis is legal, VA doctors in those states should be allowed to talk to their patients about it, right, as a treatment option. And the VA for the longest time had been resisting this, said they couldn't do it because it's illegal, and really were kind of dragging their feet with it. And I think it was probably because they didn't want to have a big fight with the Attorney General over it. But
oh yeah,
we saw last December an exciting thing happen because Secretary Shulkin changed the policy.
He did,
and he actually said, you know, in states that do have medical programs, you know, he wants the VA providers to have that discussion with their patients so that they you know about what's going on. Now the VA can't recommend it or prescribe it, but to actually have that conversation. And so then the doctor's also aware of like how if the veteran's using cannabis, well, how does that interact with all the other drugs they might be on, right? And so I think that's a step in the right direction. At least, they're having the conversation, and I think, their benefits aren't at risk, and so that's a good thing.
Now, along with that, though, there's also in those discussions, there is the behavioral health factor of it.
Yeah, right. Sure.
And so there's been some changes to some legislation of behavioral health reporting. So is there some move by the American Legion to tell Congress that, hey, these are the guys that need to talk to somebody, and you're not, because right now mental health is taking a huge forefront, is in the forefront right now with everything going on, with obviously with the gun debate and all that. Is there some sort of push to move legislation to say, hey, when a vet needs some assistance due to the specific events that he's been through, to remove that stigma, I guess you would say?
Yeah, and actually, remove barriers to care, right? And no, you're absolutely right. And I think there's been a big push both within the active duty military and within the veteran space to say, hey, there's no shame in going to and get help, right? You break your arm, you go to the doctor, you get patched up, you get blown up a few times, that's going to have an effect, or, you might see or do things that are going to have an effect on your psyche. And it's okay to have to go talk to people about that and get some treatment. It's I think, compared to where we were, on 9/11, I think that conversation has moved a long way down the road in the right direction. We're still not there yet. And I think you're going to see a big push from us this year, going after more mental health care, funding for veterans, and also we're really trying to get after veteran suicide is another thing that we really want to push after.
Yeah, I was going to roll right into the next question on some of the programs, because every time you're hearing, we don't like talking about it, because to me now it's become and of course this is going to make everybody flip out. We always say this, but we don't like hearing the 22 a day coin. You know what I mean? It's almost like now it's a catchphrase to whatever.
Sure.
And so some of those initiatives, is it like you said, is it slowly starting to ramp up? Is it going to gain some traction? Is American Legion not only going to Congress to ensure that it's not happening at the federal level, but at least the states know what's going on? I mean, are they even aware?
Yeah, no, and I think you're right. I mean, it needs to be a big push to destigmatize the whole asking for help. The awareness to have other people who are connected to the veteran aware of what's going on. Getting veterans enrolled in the VA, believe it or not, is a good thing. They find that veterans who are enrolled and getting care within the VA have a lower suicide rate than the ones that aren't. So it's kind of all of that, because as you know, it's a complex issue. It's different for everyone who is in those circumstances. So you really have to kind of go at it all at the same time.
Did it seem daunting to even discuss this? I mean, because I know the old timers of the American Legion, you don't ever hear them talking about stuff like this. Because my dad was a Vietnam vet. He never talked about this stuff. You know what I mean? So,
well, they never talked about it with you, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, it wasn't until I got a little bit older is when
right.
he started talking, because I guess I understood, or I knew where he was coming from.
Yeah.
But is it hard for the older vets, members of the American Legion, to open up to the new kids, or did it just seem like they just fit right in?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it depends on the post, right? Like, like I said, each post is its own kind of club. They all have their idiosyncrasies. We got a quality spread. We have some posts that are awesome. We have some ones that are a little bit challenged. And I think it depends on the people that are there. And, what we like to say is, if you don't find a home at the post that you first walk into, go down another mile, and the next one might be better.
Yeah.
But I think, by and large, the vets that I've run into, especially the older ones, are excited when young vets come around, right? Because what that tells them is that this organization that they poured their heart and soul into isn't going to go away when they die. And, there's a really good example. Like, we have a post out in Hollywood, California, called Post 43.
Yes.
And,
the Hollywood one.
It was kind of sputtering a little bit. And, these Iraq and Afghanistan veterans got together, and they they had all their friends join with them, and they voted as a block, and they voted themselves into leadership. And they've really supercharged this thing, and they've got a capital campaign on to raise money to restore the movie theater that's in there. They want it to be like the hot spot for all Hollywood releases that are military related, to have the red carpet.
Yeah, we attended a movie premiere there, Operation Chromite.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Yeah.
with All Warner
Wow,
Network
okay.
and all the other guys. So we're familiar with that post.
Nice.
But so yeah, we did. But it's what are you doing to boost membership? I guess you would say it, for the younger guys, for the kids coming in. What are your initiatives? What are you thinking about? Like, how are you going to attract a 25-year-old, 30-year-old kid who's only served for a little bit, and now what are you going to?
And not to put any pressure on you, Joe, but my son is listening, and he is an Iraq war vet.
Okay, no, real good. And I think when I talk to young vets, I think the thing that resonates most to them is like, hey, if you like your rights and benefits, join a VSO. We prefer the American Legion, but at least join one of us, because if you like the GI Bill, who created that? An American Legionnaire by the name of Harry Colmer sat in the Mayflower Hotel and wrote that legislation, and we jammed it through Congress. Back in World War II. If you like your health care, if you like your VA home loan, if you like, the vocational training, if you, all these benefits that are there for you as a product of your hard-earned service. If you like that, then damn it, put your name and put your money behind, the effort to keep that alive, right? And I jokingly refer to it with the young vets as kind of like the stick it to the man approach, right? Like, people made you promises when you came in.
Yep.
If you let that slide away because you didn't get involved and you didn't help defend it, then shame on you, right?
That's a good point.
And
that is a good point.
Yeah, and because to me it's just kind of like the budget hawks are always out there. The knives are always carving up the federal budget, and if we don't stand up for ourselves, that's going to go away. And you think about like when they formed the American Legion in 1919. I mean, these were doughboys that had slugged it out in the trenches of Europe. In the most grueling, bloody, industrialized warfare that the world had known to that point. And they formed this organization because they wanted to do two things initially, well, three things actually. They wanted to take care of the widows of the dead, and the orphans. They wanted to take care of their injured buddies, right? And they wanted to stay connected to each other after the war, right? And there's a great recruiting poster for the American Legion back in those days where it's like three dudes in civilian gear, right? And they have their Springfield 03 rifles stacked up, and it's just like, hey, we're stronger when we stick together. And that's what it's really about. So I mean, when I talk to younger vets, and they're like, yeah, I don't want to wear a funny hat, I don't want rules, I don't want to go to meetings, I'm sick of standing in formation, right? Because they just got out of 4 or 8 years of doing that. I'm like, hey, that's fine. You don't have to join a post. You can just be a member of the American Legion at large. Pay your $35 a year and just put your name and your reputation behind the organization that's fighting
true.
on Capitol Hill for you.
Yep.
And to me, it's just like that's the minimum. Now, if you do want to get involved at the community level and you want to get involved in coaching youth baseball or shooting sports or judge scholarships and homeless veteran outreach, you can do all that too. But I think at a minimum, it's just like I said, it's so much better when we can go into a senator's office and remind them we have 2 million members. It doesn't sound as good if we say, well, we got 200,000 members. They're going to tell us to get the hell out of their office, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So to me, that's what it's about, at least at the very basic level, and I think that's important.
Yeah, I think because I talked to my soldiers when I was a first sergeant, and they were just telling me, hey, first sergeant Ice, are you when you retire, you're gonna be that old guy, sitting at the edge of the bar at the Legion, and all that, and I kind of laughed about it, but then I started thinking about it, and if there's any voice to any, the first thing that when, like you said about veteran suicide, everyone has outrage. And everyone has the, who do we turn to when that question pops into their head when something like this happens? Well, and I always tell them, the American Legion, I start going off, like you said, I start naming the VSOs. Actually, my dad was a member of the American Legion. That's why I always, say the American Legion anyways. And so it's one of those things that if you have that outrage and you need that voice, that's what these guys are here for. So
Sure.
So what does it take to join? What are the requirements to join?
Well, you have to be a wartime veteran, right? For us, I mean, each of the congressionally chartered VSOs are technically 501c19 organizations, and they all have different membership requirements. So, like for us, you have to have served during a period of declared conflict. So you have to be a wartime veteran. For like the VFW, you actually have to have served overseas in a combat zone, if that makes sense. But like the American Legion's chartered to, if you served at any time during a declared war, if you were stationed in Kodiak, Alaska, while Afghanistan and Iraq were popping off, that's not your fault. You served your country when it needed people to serve. So you can join the American Legion, and as long as you're honorably discharged, and you have you serve during a period of wartime, you just get online and go to www.legion.org/join and sign on up. Or you can walk into your local post. And,
I was about to say,
for a membership.
or you can look at your post to see what it looks like, because it could be, like you said, it could need some love, like some of the other posts. Now is it? And you said honorably discharged. Are you guys? Are you guys adamant of having vets with bad paper? I mean, what's the limit to your acceptance of members? Are you willing to waive maybe some bad paper, like if a kid got busted and got discharged under honorable conditions and a general, but he wasn't dishonorably discharged? Are you willing to accept guys like that? Or is
because verbatim, you have to have served on federal active duty in the United States Armed Forces during the war eras, right? And have been honorably discharged or still serving, right? You're eligible for membership. So
okay, that's a question.
And we don't make up these rules. I mean,
I got you.
This comes from a congressional charter. So like for us to change our constitution, to change this stuff, we'd have to go back to the Hill and try to get that done. So those are the requirements, and that's what's been handed to us by the Congress of the United States when they chartered the organization. So
okay, that's going to be the next thing, because I want to let our audience knows that this is a congressionally chartered organization that Congress has laid specific guidelines.
Let me say this too: we do help veterans with bad paper get discharge upgrades, and we're the only VSO that does that.
I was just about to say,
if you do have a OTH or any whatever your discharge is, if it's other than honorable, and you have a case to be made to, you thought you're treated unfairly, we will help investigate that, and we filed appeals on behalf of veterans to get their discharge upgraded.
Have you increased? I mean, I know that shouldn't be the thing, but has it helped? I mean, has it gotten a little bit more outreach? I mean, has it assisted in the outreach at all by saying that, or is it?
Well, I think it's just the right thing to do, right?
Yeah.
Like, because here's the thing. My wife used to sit on the Navy's appellate review board, right? Over at the Navy Yard.
Yep.
And so all the Marines and sailors who ended up in the brig, she ran the parole board. And she's like, when I'm reviewing these cases of these sailors and Marines, and not everyone, but like a big chunk of them had been good performers, and they're doing great, and they're kind of rising up through their careers, and then they get blown up, and they suffer TBI, and all of a sudden, like, they just start spiraling down. And especially earlier on in the war, how many of those folks were just not given the proper health care that they needed? Right,
all of them, just about.
You're damaged goods,
and that's happening. That's actually happening now in the Army. The Army's now saying, or actually the whole DoD, that if we broke you, you're out, you're gone. There is no we retain you in service and put you in a garrison assignment. Now it's you're done. You're 12 months and you're done.
Right. So, I mean, the ones that, especially the ones that went out under those conditions were, we actually encourage them. You don't even have to be a member, and we will help you, right? Like, you're having trouble with the VA. Just, if you contact an American Legion service officer, we're not going to be like, hey, did you pay your dues? We're going to help that veteran. Because that's what we're here to do. We call our folks veteran service officers, not dues paying only veteran service officers, right? It's like, we're going to help them. And back to your question about, like, what are you going to do to attract the younger vets?
Yeah, exactly.
We fully understand that younger veterans are, especially the ones on active duty, they're busy, right? And, but the point, I think that is really most important for us to engage at is that transition level, right? You're going from being on active duty in a subculture of the American society, trying to figure out, like, what do I do after I get out, right? And you're trying to solve that little trifecta of where am I going to live? So location, what occupation am I going to do? And I need to figure out some sort of compensation for that occupation, right? And, it is a significant emotional experience. And I think that the longer you stay in, probably the harder that transition might be. And I know it was for me. And I walked the plank after 20 years, and I had been, consciously preparing for that for 3 years out. And still it was a challenge. And, I'm thinking, okay, if I'm doing this at 42, 43 years old, what's the corporal going through at, 22 years without half the contacts that I have, right?
Or plans or any life experience.
Yeah. And, and what I'm telling these young guys is, and women is that, chances are if you're not retired, getting out of the military in a big population area, or you're going back to your hometown, chances are that American Legion post commander knows the mayor, knows the, chief of police, knows the head of the fire department, probably knows the head of EMS services, knows, the head of the Chamber of Commerce. They're pretty connected. So why not use them and make them your Rolodex as your job hunting back home, right?
Networking.
There's a lot that can be done. I mean, filing your initial VA claim, probably one of the best pieces of advice I got was from this old colonel. And he's like, hey, when you get out, just take your medical record over to a VSO, file a power of attorney, and have them file your VA claim for you because they're pros and they know what to do. He's like, don't try to take that on yourself. And, as I'm tumbling out of the Marine Corps, I did exactly that. And it was like magic. I mean, I just signed 2 pieces of paper. The dude took my whole medical record, went through the whole thing, filed it. Next thing I know, I'm getting phone calls from the VA for my appointments to go on in there and get inspected for my rating, right? And it didn't cost me a dime, right? What a relief, and what a great thing to have somebody serve as that little lantern through the woods, right? To be like, hey,
oh, yeah, exactly.
I've done this before.
Exactly.
Follow me.
Yeah, to have your shepherd. It's kind of like your veteran shepherd to kind of help you through.
Yeah.
So, and with the younger generation, have you guys thought of, I don't know, branching into something that's, I guess you would say younger? Attending, having like being involved with like an action movie, or being involved with like video gaming, or being involved with, because I know this right here for a social media platform, your primary audience that you have, U.S. Army WTF Moments and WTF Nation Radio. It's 1 million followers, and they're of all ranks and all ages. But the main demographic is up to at least 35, and so. But these guys are the ones that flashy vids, kit explosions. You know what I mean? Are you guys thinking about changing a little bit, making your advertising or making your promos less tranquil, or are you going to up your game? I guess you'd say.
Yeah, no, and that's a great point, and that's a discussion we're having right now. In fact, I'm glad you asked, because we have a task force looking at those options right now. Like, how do we number one, show value to younger vets, right, in a meaningful way, right, by first like delivering something that's useful to them, like filing their VA claim, or helping them find a job, or helping them access their GI Bill benefits and things like that. But then do it in a way that actually breaks their attention span, so that you have an opportunity to communicate, right? And then placing that information in a place that they're likely to receive it. And so it is a challenge. It is a challenge, especially when most of our membership is a little bit older. But it's like we're looking at things like, how did Post 43 do it in Hollywood? They spun off, and one of their members went to Chicago and did the same thing, and improved that post. It is a challenge, because I've been telling our membership folks, is like, you got to put it between their thumbs on their phone. We've got a pretty solid social media guy in Indianapolis that really gets it, and he's growing the audience.
Good.
On the at American Legion, Twitter handle, and on Facebook. And I know most of the young kids aren't even on Facebook anymore.
No, they're not. Yeah, the Facebook is just a holding platform now. as opposed to instant messaging or whatever. It's all Instagram or Twitter or
Snapchat.
Yeah, Snapchat and all that. So whatever you whatever you have. So
you just totally went off into a foreign language for me.
Yeah, because I barely have Facebook. And so everyone's telling me to jump on Twitter and get a Twitter account. I'm like, I could barely figure out all the platforms that I have to use right now, and I'm now. So
right.
Now,
it's like, how many nets do you want to monitor?
Yeah, exactly. I was just about ready to say it's exactly what it is. I feel like I'm in a damn talk trying to find out who's trying to squawk me on whatever. So,
sure.
So, are you guys having any? I mean, I know you guys had a big any push with the choice program. Have you guys been able to work with the VA on advocating for that?
We're working with Congress too to come up with some legislation so that we actually get, because right now they have 9 different community care programs, right? And they're all managed out of different pots of money. And what we want to see is one streamlined program that just makes sense, that's efficient, transparent, and accessible. Because while we're 100% opposed to privatization of the VA, we do totally recognize and support the fact that veterans in remote areas deserve care, and veterans who are in areas where their VA facility might not have a specialty that they need, they need to be able to get serviced out on town for that care. And but we've kind of got 2 hard and fast positions with any choice bill that comes through. And the first one is that the Secretary of the VA needs to be the gatekeeper to that care, because it's the only way they can plan for the federal budget, right? And number 2, a veteran should never have to pay out of their own pocket for their own service-connected disability care. And one of the problems we're seeing with the current choice program is the veteran will go out to the civilian doctor. The civilian doctor will send the bill to the VA. The VA will be delayed in paying. They won't pay on the doctor's usually like a net 30 terms, right? 30 days after the bill is received. Then the doctor sends a bill to the vet. The vet sends a bill to the VA. The bill's not getting paid. Now the veteran's credit's being impacted because the VA's delayed in paying the doctor.
I was about to say, yeah, because they're going after the vet. They're not going after who's paying for it.
Oh yeah, because that's flesh and blood before them in their own hometown, rather than some obscure bureaucrat in DC.
Exactly,
right.
Exactly.
And that's a big problem. We need to iron that out.
Now, is it because it wasn't articulated correctly? We're just going to privatize all this, and then that was it. There was no.
I think with the best of intentions, people rushed into legislation just to get people off the wait, because this all happened out of the Phoenix wait time scandal. Right?
Yes, exactly.
Yep. Yeah, and so to clear the rolls, they kind of rushed into this, and which the immediacy of getting veterans care is important. Okay, good, but I think some of the intricacies probably were left by the wayside, and I'd have to put you on with our VA policy guys to talk about that in depth, but. That was before my time at the Legion, but that's the way I understand it.
No, I got you. I mean, that was just one of those things that a lot of the issues, because right now, I mean, eventually, all of us who are still in the Army or military, we're going to have to get out, like you said. There's that time where we're going to have to face it, and out processing and all that. That currently, what the Army what they do is with the IDES system, the integrated disability evaluation system. They're the ones that actually have VA doctors and VA reps contracted out to see you, and then they tell you not to go talk to your care provider. And I'm thinking, why would you tell somebody like that? You know what I mean?
Right.
So I was just curious, what is the reason why? I mean, I guess because everyone's like, what's the difference between choice and whatever? So can you explain what's the difference between the two, and why not having choice is better, if I guess you'd say?
Oh, between like all the different community care programs?
Yeah, I mean, just the top ones about that's because a lot of people are saying that it's not good, and then some people are saying that it's great. So, the Legion stands on it.
I'm hearing like, good and bad. I mean, I'm hearing more. What I do know is that veterans who are, by and large, who are getting care within the VA system are pretty damn happy with the quality of the care they get. And the problem is like accessing the care, right? Mm-hmm. That's where their point of frustration is actually getting in to see the doctor.
Yeah.
As far as like the intricacies of that, I'd really have to refer.
I'd
have to put you on the phone with one of our VA guys.
Yeah,
I don't want to screw that up.
No, I understand.
So
because I know you guys have been involved. You've dissected actually pretty much all of the programs to specifically the.
Well, we haven't spoken about entrepreneurship yet, though. I mean, that's another thing that a lot of people don't know we do. Is,
Yeah,
we work with like the Chamber of Commerce.
That was my next question.
And
go ahead.
and the Small Business Administration to, help promote veteran small-owned businesses. And there are even some posts that are organized around that where, they're less concerned about, the meetings and the Roberts Rules of Order as they are, about how do you capitalize a business? How do you make connections? How do you
even start a
find
business?
an accountant? Things like that.
How do you even start a business? There's some guys that still have the issue of starting a business, let alone, saying that they want to start one. I mean, how would you know what I mean? So there's kids, or I shouldn't say kids, but there's individuals that come out and, like you said, stumbling through the process. Can you explain a little bit of that? Do you guys work through the Voc Rehab program as well?
Yeah, we do that. We also partner with groups like Bunker Labs, and the University of Syracuse has the Institute for Veterans and Military Families, and they do a lot of boots to business programs. And then there's another group called Street Shares, where they help existing veteran businesses scale up, and you can actually buy bonds through Street Shares, and they guarantee a 5% return, which is pretty interesting. It's unsecured, it's or not insured, but there's groups out there that are in kind of the entrepreneurial space, and that's a really interesting phenomena to watch. Like here's an example. Like we almost got a bill passed last Congress, and it had to deal with capitalization of business, right? Like the hardest thing for vets to do is, one, have the connections to get into the business world, and two, find the money to launch and scale their business. And one day we were sitting back, and an old Vietnam vet mentor of mine and I were sitting around, and we're like, I wonder how many kids are actually using the GI Bill. And that at that time it was about 50%. And of the ones that were starting, only about 50% of them were completing their degrees. And we're thinking, what's happening with everyone else, right? Because if half of them aren't using it, or they're passing it on to their kids, some of them are being left on the beach, right? And the whole point of transition is to have the veteran transition in a way that's meaningful and sustainable for them. So we started thinking, like, well, how much is a GI Bill worth on an individual basis? And if you got into Harvard tomorrow, the government would be on the hook for somewhere between like $140,000, $160,000. For 36 months of education, kind of at the max rate. And we're like, well, damn, if a veteran could take some slice of that out to start a small business, if they didn't want to go to school, why not let them do it, right? And, to buy a franchise, because, I mean, if you can run a squad, you can run the hell out of a small business, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so, we had the thought for that. So we actually got a bill. It was Senate Bill 1870. We got it out of the Small Business Committee. We had Senator Jerry Moran and Senator Tester were the two sponsors of the bill. And then it just died on the Senate floor. Like, we never got a vote. So, before the election in November 2016. But I think we're going to take another run at something like that. But, those are the kind of things that we're looking at, is like creative solutions for veterans to access their benefits in maybe ways that are slightly different than the way they're written on the books. But if you go back all the way to like the 1944 Service Members Readjustment Act, which was the original GI Bill, you'll notice they didn't call it the Service Members College Act, right? They called it the Readjustment Act.
Readjustment
and
Act,
in that
correct.
1944 bill was a provision to buy business property.
Yeah,
right?
it was part of the
You could
original.
buy a farm.
Yeah, exactly. You were authorized to get at least 40 acres for farming. It was also attached to that almost the same thing as the bonus army. I keep going back to the bonus army because that event pisses me off.
You have my attention now with 40 acres.
Yeah, well, no, this was an initial. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. But the point being is that the post World War II generation had one of the highest levels of small business ownership
Correct.
Ever.
Correct.
And now, like, comparatively, oh man, it's late, but my
no, it's okay.
I'm trying to remember the stats.
No worries.
I could find them and email it to you, but like,
no, it's okay.
It was a staggering number. It was something like upwards of 40% of post World War II veterans ended up owning a business sometime after their service, and now it's something like 7%.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I think it's important to help vets. If say, I don't know, man, if I got out and I was like, a gunnery sergeant with, like 16 years in, and I'm trying to think, like, what would my motivation be to go sit back in a classroom with a bunch of 18-year-olds? Probably not that high, right? But like maybe I just wanted to be a dude with a truck and a toolbox and fix stuff. You could start a hell of a business for $50,000. Right?
That's true.
If you could access that cash. So if you're not going to use the GI Bill, why shouldn't the veteran be allowed to take that money and apply it in a business setting? And I'm not talking about like just a cash bomb, but like come up with a business plan, go through due diligence. Take an initial slice to develop a minimally viable product or service, then take it back and Shark Tank it. If that passes, then you could go after more money to scale it up. That kind of thing would make sense.
Now, do you have guys that are on a staff that actually will do that with you know what I mean? That would get you, like for instance, I wanted to start a business up and I wanted to Shark Tank it. Do you have those programs in place already to assist me in that? Yeah,
we have more people. We have a small business task force that we have within the American Legion, and most of that is other Legionnaires who are in small business who can help advise you on that. But like I said, the biggest hurdle is still finding the money to start the business, and that's the nut that nobody's really seemed to crack yet.
The startup capital.
Yeah, exactly. That's the startup part. Yeah. Well, damn, Joe, we appreciate you coming on. I was told I had an hour to hang out with you, and
sure.
You are always welcome to come back. And again, it is an honor to have at least some representation from the American Legion, because that and anything you need from us, just let us know. Talk to Flash, our public affairs guy.
You're doing it. I mean, you're giving us a voice with an audience of younger vets. So I'm just saying, hey, if what I would ask is that you just please put your name and your reputations behind the effort to defend your rights and benefits, and join the American Legion if you find us to be a good fit for you, or at least another VSO that you're comfortable with. One of the so I appreciate it. Thanks for letting me on.
All right, man. Hey, I'll talk to you later.
Appreciate it, Joe.
Yeah,
hey, thanks a lot. Have a good night, y'all.
All right, you too, Joe. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye. Oh man, so with that, we can take a break.
Legion shots.
Yeah, man. So Legion shots. Holy crap! I still had like 5 more questions to go too. That was good shit. So, anyways, that was Joe Plenzler, the Director of Media Relations for the American Legion National Headquarters in Washington, D.C. And so he is, yes, that was the American Legion. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and take a break, and then we'll see you all in a sec. I gotta recharge my drink. So shots.
Yeah, me too. Shots.
Well, it definitely is all about the visuals, although pretty sure it's illegal.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
I am here determined to stop this future atrocity.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
You say I walk on the truth, but start. Rip apart my art, I'm strong like a flower blooming. You got it all wrong, I know I'm breathe, I breathe. And like you see, I see. And like you need, I need. And like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe. And like you see, I see. And like you need, I need. And like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human.
Call me a vet like a soldier. Green beret, 21 gun salute, don't wanna see the day. In the constant war zone, in the home of the brave, where they hate the police until they saving the day. I got kids like you, a mortgage like you, so blue lives matter, and so does yours too. All this separation and divide, open your eyes. If you cut us all open, we the same inside. The only difference is I run to the gunfight. Your peace when it's chaos, when the people don't act right. But I'm under scrutiny for trying to protect me. Pull a pistol and I'm shooting for trying to contest me. I got a quick second to make a deadly decision. The media betrayed me like a kid for a living, like I'm cold with no heart, a brain with no thoughts, a body with no feeling, a life with no cause.
Like you breathe, I breathe. And like you see, I see. And like you need, I need. And like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe. And like you see, I see. And like you need, I need. And like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. I'm damned if I do, and damned if I don't. It's like every single time I say what's on my mind, they go for my throat, they spew evil words. If you are absurd, always grinding, grinning, and killing my soul with these verbs. Hold me down, like I can't gasp for air. I'm closed inside of a box, like I'm inside Fort Knox. Every time that I'm there, I don't know why they think that I'm different from you. All that's true is I'm a like you breathe, I breathe. And like you see, I see. And like you need, I need. And like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe. And like you see, I see. And like you need, I need. And like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe. And like you see, I see. And like you need, I need. And like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe. And like you see, I see. And like you need, I need. And like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Good evening, boys and girls. This is Tim Kennedy. I'm a Special Forces sniper, a Ranger-qualified Green Beret, a UFC fighter. Please listen to us and the shenanigans that we're going to say. We will insult you. There will be racial slurs. We will be sexist. We will offend you. But there will be magic, and a unicorn will be raped. So enjoy the show. Thank you for listening on WTF Nation Radio.
And we're back for the last segment of Sergeant's Time on this 1 March 2018 with Mike Golf and myself, Ice and Spanky, the master of jumping, the master of gunning, Jump Master Gunner.
The Master Center of Excellence.
Morty, we got a new center of excellence. It's called Jump Master Gunning. Oh, fuck. Hey, well, that was an awesome guest. Joe Plenzler, again, the Director of Media Relations for the American Legion National Headquarters in D.C., and he is the main man. I am excited to see what they have in store. Shit, I think I might just be might as well join. Hell, might as well. I mean, think about it. These are the guys that I can tell you. Got to practice what I preach. Can't be talking all this shit saying this 22 a day bullshit's done. It's stupid and blah 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 blah. They don't care about vets. Well, the American Legion is the voice for you to exercise that voice. You tired of fucking vets killing themselves in the parking lot? That's what they're there for. To assist in ensuring that veterans are taken care of and ensuring that they're getting the proper treatment. Once we hang up the uniform. I like what he was saying about doing the appeals for bad paper.
Yes.
Most other VSOs don't do that. So, I mean, again, they're structured. They are chartered by Congress. So, you got to kind of give them that. You can't sit there and get mad about the specific rules that they have or don't have, because that's the rules. That's their rules to join a group. And they will assist you, and you don't have to worry about a of course, they are going to help you with your VA claim, but and they are going to assist you in the processing of your appeals for your VA claims. But it would be nice to go ahead, like you said, $30.
That's not bad. That's
$30 for a year.
That's a lot better than most of the other SVOs.
Yeah. So what I didn't, I still had like 5 more questions to go with a couple of supplementary questions to go with it. So he was, it's good that he kept up, man. It's pretty good. I like that. Good shit. To join, just go on to their website at legion.org, members.legion.org, and there's an online application, and you just say, hey, current renew. I don't even remember if I joined the American Legion back in the day when I was a Joe. I mean, I guess. So if the eligibility information will be on the website, but like he said, if you've served in active federal service in the United States Armed Forces during any of the war eras, then you will, all the way from the Persian Gulf War, War on Terrorism, Operation Just Cause, Panama, Lebanon, Grenada, Vietnam, Korea, World War II, and then when I joined in World War I, then you were eligible to join. And again, they're not like the other VSOs that are specific to being deployed in combat. You just have to be in the military, active federal service during the times of declared, I guess you would say, hostilities. And then you just go online, and you click yes, I want to join. Fill out the application. Yes, you throw your names, your digits, your date of birth, address, and all this other stuff. Gives you the dates of service, and then your email. So that way, once you join, you can blam. And if you enroll right now, you'll get your little lapel pin so you can wear on your stuff. So that way, you can show off when you're in your business suit and show everybody that you're part of the Legion. Now, I don't know about the hat things. I should have forgot. Man, that was one of the questions. Where did the hat come from? You know what I mean? Because
I think that was it. Wasn't that a throwback to the garrison cap?
Yes, it is. Throwback to the garrison cap. I mean, I don't have the link come on. I want some more Legion. Give me some more Legion to come on here. Because
come on, Joe, come back.
Come on. But it's stuff like that. You hear about the history, like he was talking about the Hollywood Post, and when we were there, or actually we had Pi there. That's what he was there to for the premiere of Operation Chromite, which was the invasion, the land invasion, amphibious invasion of Korea, and that's one of those things to where. Getting involved with the community. I didn't know about I knew a little bit about the that program that he was talking about, the entrepreneurships.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. The hats, different colors. There's I guess they have different ones with like department national. So like if you're part of the national, then you have like a red cap, or department, it's a white cap. Districts, blue cap with white crown. County with solid white cap with white piping letters. Post is a solid blue cap with your name, and then post and state, solid blue cap with your name full. So there's a little stuff in there. You get your little hat, up on there and stuff like that. And you also have it for ladies as well, so it doesn't matter. But they even have measurements on their websites and emblems on how to wear it. So, but nothing wrong with that. I mean, shit. Yeah, there's some guys that don't. That's all they have left is some of their pins and medals, and they throw that on their little American Legion hat. So, but yeah, it's pretty cool. Just kind of wanted to go through the, and the American Legion. When my dad was buried, the American Legion sent out a squad to render the 21 gun salute because a family member was a POW in World War II and landed in Normandy, so he presented the flag to my mom. So American Legion. So American Legion. See, the American Legion was all around me and didn't even know it.
I have an American Legion coin.
Do they issue coin? Do they challenge you coin? Is it like a challenge coin that they give you at the?
Yeah.
Do you have to like hand them out? So if you go to a meeting, you don't have your coin, you get an extra beer or something.
Well,
like that?
I don't know if it's that formal. I have an American Legion coin.
Well, I mean,
because they were part of an organization that welcomed me. They did a welcome home when I came back from Iraq.
Yeah.
when I went on my leave after my tour.
Okay,
they were there to welcome me home, to make sure, that lessons learned from, Vietnam vets.
Yeah, exactly.
The American Legion guys are there to make sure we take care of our own.
I don't want to sound like an old sergeant major that I had. It's the right thing to do, type shit.
You're
You know what I
goddamn
mean?
right.
It's the right thing to freaking do.
Anybody, join an SVO.
Yeah, exactly. If I guarantee it, if you join it, then you'll be happy. In a way, it's kind of like having the camaraderie of being with your buddies. You know what I mean? You never know who you might run into.
Yeah.
Don't be an introvert about that stuff. What's the bonus? Okay.
My SVO, the one that I belong to, is the Military Order of the Purple Heart.
Yeah.
It's there. You've got all these options out there, and the American Legion is it from what it sounds like. And I've had experience in the MOPH, and I've had experience in the VFW, and from what it sounds like is the American Legion is all encompassing. They're willing to accept anybody based on, the service requirements. Purple Heart obviously is an elitist club. The VSW is also, their membership requirements are a little more selective than most. The American Legion seems like they're just all encompassing, and you get the most benefit out of it.
Yeah. No, I mean, in they're the ones that, like, I mean, Flash is sending some pictures of the event, and he was just showing me that they're in like Congress people's office. They're like running people down in the halls of the Capitol. Hey, you're Congress so and so, come here. You know what I mean? I'd be, oh man, there should be like Savage Legion. They should. You want to get a younger audience? I
did that in California with the Student Veterans Organization at the college I was attending there.
Yeah,
running guys down in the halls of the state capitol in Sacramento.
Yeah, I tell you. Okay, everyone, I like to bring up the bonus army. I always say the bonus army because it was basically over 40,000 marchers. 17,000 were World War I vets, and they all gathered around D.C. and they were demanding their pay. Because they freaking were told that they were going to get money if they did this, whatever. So they didn't get their money. So everyone else called it of the organization. They called it the Bonus Expeditionary Force because of the bonus army that the bonuses that you were going to get while you went to war. So this contingent was led by a former NCO, of course, and because obviously, like Joe mentioned, the War Adjusted Compensation Act of 1924 awarded bonuses in the form of certificates they could not redeem until 1945. So it was kind of messed up that the Army was like, oh yeah, checks in the mail. We'll get this back to you. And so it bore a face value equal to the promise of paid compounded with interest. This is when the government used to pay you in interest. And of course was immediate cash payments of the bonus army was, hey, fuck all this shit. We want our cash payments now. So they all formed onto the Capitol. So the Attorney General at the time said, hey, y'all need to move out the property. And they're like, no, we need to get our rights. We need to get this heard and blah, blah, blah. So the Attorney General said, screw you, I'm calling the police. And he calls the police, and, there was some fire exchange between the police and, of course, the cops fucking are armed. And, 2 veterans died in the incident. And Herbert Hoover said, hey, fuck this, Army, you need to go in there and clean that's turning into a shithole. So the Chief of Staff of the Army, go ahead.
And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why we need AR-15s.
Yeah. Oh. Were we going to get into the David Hogg Center of Ballistics and Studies? Anyways.
Oh, shut up, David.
Shut up, David. So, President Hoover said, hey, Army Chief of Staff, you need to get this shit squared away and go down there and get it. So fucking MacArthur, he was the Chief of Staff of the Army at the time, went down to there and had infantry and cavalry with fucking 6 tanks. 6 fucking tanks down there. And drove through this fucking... Bad. Yeah, and drove through... I'm sorry, I forgot. Yeah, tanks. You got to remember, everybody brought their families up there for this event. So there were women and kids there as the tanks and everybody were rolling through the fucking shelters, and everybody had their shelters and their belongings burned. So again, this was not one of those things to where, hey, you know, this is like zero fucks given at the ultimate level.
That's like, that is the worst case of us turning on ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the Civil War was.
Well, I mean,
Well,
yeah,
that
that kind of, that.
I'm just sorry. I couldn't keep my mouth shut.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I'm
we're
talking
just
about veterans turning on, soldiers turning on veterans.
Yeah, I'm just talking about the fact that
No, I got it.
It was just the fact of the benefits and what was owed. Yeah, you're just being Doc. So again, having the military go in, having General MacArthur go down there and talk to the vets, and then say, y'all need to fucking get out of here. Y'all need to put your PTA belts on and get the fuck out of here, or I'm gonna send in the fucking tanks. And the tanks were commanded by none other than George Patton.
God damn it!
Am I just like total hero shaming your hero there?
Yes,
he's a good shit. No, he's a hero.
Totally destroying.
No. Because Patton said this was bullshit. He said himself that it was no fucking place for this shit to happen. What the fuck's going on? Why y'all fucking doing this shit? This is bullshit. Blah 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 blah. So I mean, there were some issues with all this. But anyways, after it was all said and done, believe it or not, after all this fucking stuff happened, Roosevelt, later in the years, fucking had an executive order enrolling fucking the veterans into this, this fucking compensation, to have the Adjusted Compensation Act of 1936 that Joe was talking about, and authorized the immediate payment of over $2 billion in bonuses and underpaid. And then there were some individuals that tried to veto. The Democrats, holding majority in both houses, passed the Adjusted Compensation Act, but then were overridden by a veto of the measure by fucking Roosevelt, but they fucking paid it anyways. That was back when the legislative branches of our government, actually, when there were some issues, just said, fuck it. You're just fucking president. Wow, kind of sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah, I thought you were talking about the California National Guard bonuses there for a minute.
Oh, no, yeah, exactly. No, I'm glad you said that about the Vietnam stuff. This month is actually two important dates in March that normally people kind of overlook, but being that we are WTF Nation Radio, so my WTF Moments want to provide you the most up to date. On the 25th of March is the National Medal of Honor Day. It's dedicated to all Medal of Honor recipients, past, present, and deceased. And then on the 29th, March is the National Vietnam War Veterans Day on March 29th. So if you know a Vietnam vet, give him some props. Buy him a beer. Shoot the shit. Hang out. Make him feel welcome.
There's plenty of them down here in Alabama and Georgia, right outside of Fort Benning.
Exactly. Just so make them feel welcome, because they're brothers and sisters just like you. So anyways. So yeah, that was something everyone was asking. What the hell is a bonus? I keep saying about bonus army. Yeah. So there was a period of time where the Blue Falcon really did happen back in that day.
And this concludes this week's history lesson with Ice.
Advisor.
Who was actually there in a tent that got run over by Patton's tank.
Fuck you, Patton. So, hey, Fourth ID. Yeah. Hey, Fourth ID. I'm glad you cleared that fucking lockdown, because we were gonna really get into it even more. It was gonna be
haven't we gotten past the idea of fucking unlawful detention?
It was if it was gonna go, supposedly it was supposed to go to Friday, tomorrow. And had it gone that way, then we would have leveraged all senior assets of organizations to full on go. We were gonna have like we had some plans involved. Jose's already pissed off anyways, because every time something like this happens, then it cuts out of his fucking story time, because I can't wait to he's got some stories coming down the pipe that I can't fucking wait for. I'm excited. So, but
is Miss Williams still working at Third ID?
I think he said he was talking about a follow-up to that, some other stuff about cyberbullying, and there was another one. He was talking about, but he rants and fucking takes off. But But yeah, it's one of those things to where the days of you want to know why soldiers are getting out. You want to know why soldiers are not, I guess you would say, not respectful to rank, not respectful to motivation. How come these soldiers are not? These soldiers aren't loyal and blah blah blah, and these are disrespectful, and how come they always act like this, and blah blah blah.
Because you treat them like fucking property,
exactly
not
that
humans.
Exactly. So one of the things that happened was everybody knows that again, what's an experimental MRE? So look, an experimental MRE is a sensitive item. Name it. If it goes in an arms room and the code word for experimental MRE is out there, that's kind of like the unwritten. Everybody knows what that means. It's not an actual MRE. We have, I guess there must be like a new swing of new followers or some shit, because I have been getting, everyone's like, Ice, what's this experimental MRE, and is it the pizza one?
Yeah, I love those.
Yeah, I love it.
God damn it, it's just a fucking MRE.
Go buy a new one, exactly. Even though they say not for government sale on the bottom of it. Not for for government use only. So what it is that and everyone's like, well, it's over, it's done with, whatever. No, I'll tell you what happened. The soldier lost an experimental MRE, the ones that help you see at night during a field rotation, and it was lost during the day one actually of the field problem, but failed to report it for like 4 fucking days. And so the unit has called in the rear D and detail personnel and locked them all in the motor pool to try to find the missing item. None of the soldiers were in the field. They were just left in the rear to run day-to-day operations. And now they have the entire battalion, because everyone's coming back with the gates locked. And you had to have gotten permission from the battalion to get the gate unlocked, no matter what the status of their profile. If you had any fucking meds or med issues like that. So there was people that were fucking sleeping on the floor. There were people that had fucking medical conditions. There were people that were clearing. There were people that had to fucking to get chaptered out. There was rumors having, this is just rumint, that there was individuals that were eating chow of leadership and coming back freshly cleaned after being away from the motor pool. So, 4th ID, man, Ivy Division, what's up with that? But
Med Pro Senior Leadership.
Look, hey, command supply discipline, easy shit. You do. I've done maybe not even a lockdown one time. And it wasn't really a lockdown. I just said nobody leaves, and it was like during the middle of the fucking day. You know what I mean? It was like nobody leaves until we get this. We find this fucking experimental MRE. And then I text my sergeant major, "Hey, got experimental MRE issue here. What is it? Blah blah blah. What's going on? All right, let me know what the status is." And funny, when you lay out statements of charges in front of NCOs, shit just reappears. Fuck that.
We miscounted.
We miscounted. Yeah, fuck that, dude. Straight up, I will fucking. I have no issues in recommending to the commander, fucking hey, dude, statement of charges. Fuck this. All this medical, hold your financial response. What do the flipples for? Flipple's supposed to be this. Well, yeah, you know what? Well, I will ensure that flipple's expedited and your ass is gone. You're gonna pay for it. No, I give it to the private is not a fucking excuse. Especially
maintain accountability of your shit.
Especially if it was a staff sergeant. That's what it was. It was an NCO that gave it to a Joe, and then it was like Joe's like Matt Damon, and that was it. So
sit on the fucking gut truck at NTC and cost your entire brigade to get locked down from ever using gut trucks again.
Exactly.
Not that I know this from personal experience.
Well, I'm just blown away the fact that we're still doing archaic shit. Locking down a unit to find something while you're all there is fine, but once the chain of custody is out and done, dude, you're blowing your purpose as a leader. You should have been doing because that's what we're talking about in the office. There was nobody doing any fucking sensitive item reports. There was nobody doing doing the lace. No one's saying, hey, we're green up. What's the status? Oh yeah, we're good. We're green.
Let me ask you this question, and let me put this out to anybody who's listening, and specifically anybody that is a senior leader and spent any length of time in the Army. When has it ever been effective to lock down an entire battalion? When has it ever been effective to do hands across the desert and you actually found what you were looking for? When?
I have never, ever found anything we were looking for when it came to that.
When you're getting investigated and they ask you if you looked for it.
Well, no, but my point being is, have you ever found it though?
Oh,
I mean, I've done.
What is the benefit? What is the purpose? And what is the positive that comes out of having an entire battalion fucking locked down in a building, in a motor pool, kept out in the field for an extra fucking week?
This isn't NAM. There are rules.
Somewhere,
But if-
somehow,
but if you-
some
if you-
commander thought that would be a good idea to do it, and then it caught on. That's the only thing I can come up with.
It's just the way we always fucking do it.
It's just accountability, man.
It's not
There are
accountability.
full
Go through the
No.
fucking chain of custody, your 2062s, your fucking hand receipts. You had it last. Where did you see it? Well, I gave it to Joe. Okay, Joe, where did you have it last?
Somewhere in the striker that was in fucking NTC in these grid squares. That's what
Yeah.
Joe's gonna say.
And if that's the answer you get, then you failed as a leader because you're supposed to do a fucking green 2 twice a day.
Bingo. That's what I'm about to say. No, you didn't do a green 2, then you're fucked. Why the fuck didn't you do a green 2? Or in the world that I live in, all them shits was attached to you. You didn't say, here, hold my nods. You carried all that shit. There was no, hey Doc, you want to hold my nods? And Doc would say, why the fuck am I holding your nods? Why carry your own shit? You know what I mean?
So in this vignette, we're talking about Sergeant Dipshit and Private Joe Snuffy. Between these two, somewhere, a set of nods got lost.
Yep.
But then you got Specialist I'm out trying to ETF
or
in the chain of custody.
I was about to say, yeah.
But
What the
throughout
fuck
this
is the
whole-
point?
See, this whole conversation is takes 5 seconds for us to have among ourselves, but for the fucking team leader to, relay all the way up to whatever level it is, like let's say even company level, at what level they're having accountability to close the fucking arms room. They can't close the arms room until they establish what the fuck happened to it. And you know that it's a broken telephone game of fucking one says this, he said this, and then it gets lost in fucking relay. That's what it is. It's just an inefficient system. That's why people fucking sit around for days. That's why we have fucking formations after fucking 1700.
But calling in Rear D, who had absolutely weren't even physically there.
Exactly. And if you're
to draw the shit,
exactly,
to lose the shit, and to turn the shit back in.
If you were out in the field and you lost it out in the field, why the fuck you have everybody in garrison stay at garrison? You know what I mean? But it wasn't discovered till day 4.
And now you've contaminated your quarantine by calling these motherfuckers back in. If that's what you want to call it, a quarantine.
Well, you're basically locking.
Well, it's not possible to quarantine is if you think that the shit got fucking stolen, or not lost.
Well, that's what I always did. I had
anything other than lost.
That's exactly what I did. I would hold a formation as soon as I found out something was missing, and I would say, y'all have until 1500 before I call CID. Magically,
Yeah, dude.
it magically appears.
That's the thing is and that's what, like, that's not going to be the larger the unit, the longer it takes for that shit to get fucking, even for the leadership at the highest level of accountability for that particular incident, the larger the fucking shit, the larger that unit is, the longer it's going to take for them to even fucking realize that the shit is missing. And then afterwards, it's going to go back downhill, and, instructions are going to get fucking relayed over and over and over again to Joe to say, you better find your shit. It's just an inefficient system, dude. Like,
and
in general.
9 times out of 10, I'm willing to bet 9 times out of 10, it's a fucking record keeping error.
Well, a lot of it is either a record keeping error or straight up neglect or laziness and apathy. If I have a set of nods as an NCO, well, first off, some units don't even have nods issued to them, so they're not. You have to be. I guess you would say you have to be in units that's uncomfortable to have sensitive item where you become comfortable with it. So having a weapon, having nods, having a pistol, having all the accoutrements with it, I'm always used to having. So it was never It was never a, oh shit, where did I put the nods? No, I knew exactly where my fucking nods were at. I knew where my weapon was at. I knew where my pistol was at.
Yeah, dude, the way to fucking fix this is make sure that everyone that gets promoted to sergeant knows how to tie a fucking square knot.
Yeah, that too. That too.
I guarantee you, I'm not a betting man, but I'd fucking bet that a good number of fucking lost items is because Joe's sergeant didn't fucking teach him how to tie a fucking knot because he didn't know how to do it himself. It's because it's much more important to do a fucking 30 slide con op.
Exactly. 30 slides and get you security of InDigit you can't fucking get because another unit has it.
Advisor. Yeah. Everyone's a fucking subject matter expert on security clearances, but they fucking don't know how to tie a square knot.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Oh man, I love this. I love this fucking shit. So
if you lock down a unit for a lost set of nods, fuck you.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. I have never had an issue. I'd never had an issue with anybody with this stuff when it came to sense of, like I was telling you before, like square knots, the simple stuff. Me and when you two, all of us are senior NCOs. All of us have had that direct leadership to where we say, "Come here, fuckstick. Why is your shit hanging like that? Well, sorry. Yep. Tie that fucking shit up. Well, what about why is your lanyard not attached to your pistol? Who the fuck is this? Why are you talking? You know what I mean? You start, and I always tell my junior NCOs and senior NCOs, if I am the one making the correction, there was a buck sergeant, a staff sergeant, and a sergeant fucking first class that had failed those checks. What's going on? Do you want me to get in your shit? Because if I could spot your shit not being fucking tied, or your nods not being attached like they're supposed to be, or tucked, or whatever piece of equipment. I mean, hell, as a company leader, I had so much shit dangling off me. That's what she said, but I have so much shit dangling off me that you like I said, you had to be comfortable with being uncomfortable carrying sensitive items.
Mm-hmm.
And I would help my
Dude,
Go ahead. No, I was gonna say I helped my RTO with the fucking Crazy 10. The Crazy 10, I had a Crazy 10 with me all the time. Nobody knew I had a Crazy 10, but my RTO would be like running with my commander doing his shit, and then a fill would drop or something like that, and then First Sergeant Ice he's got a Crazy 10. Come here, man. Let me do your fill right quick. And we do the fucking fills, and bam, come over here, guys. When we get your fill. All right, cool. Top, thanks, Top. Don't tell the CO that I dropped the fill. Get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Little shit like that. Easy shit. Easy fucking shit. What was pissing me off is that.
Dude,
Go ahead.
I lost, like, when I was a Joe, I fucking had a fucking, I forgot what the fuck exactly. It was a fucking, one of the fucking flares, like, pieces of fucking attachments that you attached to your M4. I forgot if it was a fucking laser or a fucking, I don't think it was a light. It wouldn't have been such a big deal if it was just a light. I think it was a fucking laser. But it fell off, dude. Like, we were fucking like, this is during just a field exercise. Fell off while we were fucking clearing an objective. And I noticed, like, I got lucky because it was like on the front of the gun, you noticed the fucking difference in weight almost like immediately.
Yeah.
But it was like in the dark, you know what I mean? Like nighttime ops and shit. And I got lucky as fuck, dude. And that stuck with me. That was like, you know, that moment when you're like, wake up and after a deployment, you're like, where's my fucking gun?
Yep.
It was like that. It was like that, dude.
Yep. Oh, I've had experiences like that too.
It really fucking made me go through all my shit. Cause like, I was still fucking like a baby fucking Joe, dude. I'm pretty sure, like, I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure that I never even like redid all the tie downs by myself. Like, you know, I got a new gun and I was like, oh, it's cool. Fucking tie downs are on it. I'm not gonna fucking like, you know, disrupt that shit. Just leave it on there. But like, after that happened, dude, like anytime I'd get new fucking any shit issued, I'd fucking strip that shit down. Anything that needs to be tied down, fucking methodically go through it and fucking tie that shit down yourself, because ultimately it's gonna be your ass. And I got lucky. I got lucky that I was able to like fucking pick it right up where I dropped it, you know. But that was enough for me to realize, like, holy fuck, that could have been really fucking bad, you know.
I've had equipment come off of me during an airborne operation. And
that's not good.
Well, the whole thing is that luckily for me, it was attached. It was almost it was dusk. It was starting. It was sunset, and there was people out on the ground saw it. The drop zone safety team saw it. So when I exited the aircraft, and they said they saw this piece flying off of me, I didn't know it was fucking. I mean, literally, I thought it was fucking attached, and it was literally. They said it was literally. You saw it. They were sitting there in the lead edge of the drop zone. I exited the aircraft. They saw a piece fly off of me, and they're like, "Whoa, what the fuck is that?" And then they all like, "Oh, let's go over and see you, check it out." And it was like literally they were almost underneath the aircraft, so they saw it fall. And I was like, "Oh fuck." Goddamn.
Yeah, that's another, like, you know.
That's a lot of paperwork.
And exactly that. Safety wire, 550 cord, fucking Loctite. You know what I mean? Loctite. Fucking you name it, dude. Oh man, I was fucking. Oh, mine was an L-can. That thing wasn't fucking latched on there like I thought it was. So, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, dude, learn your fucking square knots, motherfuckers.
Yeah,
the only knot is not a square knot. If you're untying it and you're repeating "fuck" in your head or in your mouth, that's a fuck knot.
Yeah. The only time I had to tie a liner to anything was when we were doing railhead operations on the tank, and I had to tie the gun tube.
Secure.
Yeah.
Your MRE to your flak vest.
Pretty much.
Sorry.
Using 1/2-inch wire rope to tie the gun tube to the hull of the tank.
Yeah, it's good old days.
Yeah.
Good old days. My biggest thing though is, like you were saying, my golf. There's no need for it to happen. With the advent of technology, the innovative leaders that we're supposed to have in the Army right now, this should have been fucking easy, right?
You may agree too. We're up.
We're up. Yeah.
No, motherfucker. Go put your hands
on it. And why is it not attached? Why aren't nods dangling from you? You know, there's two points. If it's not on the rhino mount, it's dangling from you, tucked into your shirt, and your blouse is fucking tucked in your pants, anyways.
Are you allowed to fucking make Joes tie down all their shit to all their other shit? Or is that considered hazing nowadays? Like your boots.
Well, it's either that or
your pants, your belt to your fucking pants, your fucking blouse to your pants.
It's either that or get locked down in a fucking motor pool.
Your hat to your blouse.
No, when I make Joe's jump, when we jump,
it's corrective training, dude.
But I make them zip up their nods in their shirt, and they have a cord wrapped around their neck. So
nice.
If you know, being a jump master, and if I don't see that bulge right there in their fucking chute, then
JMPI go.
Yeah, JMPI go. But first, if this thing wraps around my neck, then you know you won't lose it. You know, fuck that. Yeah, because contrary to popular belief, Army cares more about equipment than
does
you.
Does your head have a serial number on it?
Exactly. We'll find it. As long as the helmet's attached, you'll be all right.
God forbid you drop a Humvee out of the back of the C-130, though.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, I know. But first, what if it fucks up my shoot? And you know, how much time am I gonna have? You're gonna have the rest of your airborne life, son. Good see ya. Have a good jump.
Rest of your airborne life, and when you hit the ground, cha-ching, $400,000.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I never understood that. And,
but you never lost your nuts, and we don't get locked down, so that's a plus.
Exactly. We gotta call the medics. Gotta claim the mess. Gotta put some dry sweep here, but you'll be all right.
You'll be all right. You'll leave a big enough hole. We'll just throw some dirt in it and call it a grave.
I don't know, Doc. When you found me on the DZ, did I have any substances leaking out of me? Was I all right?
Yeah, just fucking sprinkle some Motrin on it.
Yeah, exactly.
The magic fairy dust in the Army Motrin powder.
Hit him with a wag bag. Shit in a bag, Pogue. Hit him in the face. I'm glad we didn't have that shit when we were jumping, Doc.
How do you feel? Holy shit, my dick touches my ass now.
Exactly. You're right, dude. Yeah, I was just wondering, was that a bag that hit me in the face? Shut the fuck up. Oh man. Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
exactly,
God.
Pooks. Tie all your shit to all your shit. There's nothing wrong with that. It's securing it, trust me.
And put your hands on the shit that you're in charge of inventorying
God.
for your green too. God, it's not fucking hard.
No, it's not. What was sad, like I said, is when we started getting reports that these were only reports because Jose actually took time off of his other stories to focus on a blast on these guys, because there were only reports, and once the tamales involved, watch out. There was reports that there was leadership that were they were forbidding them to eat. Like they were.
How does?
Then there was somebody who said fuck this and bought pizzas for all the fucking kids stuck in the motorpool. I mean, there's people there that was watching this shit fucking happening, and then what got even worse was that the leadership was getting the ass because it was posted on the main page, and I mean there was autistic screeching fucking happening by the First Sergeant and the CSMs, and everyone was like, "Why the fuck you do that?" And then of course you had OPSEC Oprah in there, who decides to fucking, this is my husband unit, this is my husband's first sergeant, this is my husband's commander.
Oh my God.
And I told, those motherfuckers are stupid. Oh man. Oh God. Oh, that's fucking hilarious.
How does forbidding soldiers from eating help you recover lost equipment?
Yeah, exactly. If anything else, it's just going to piss off your soldiers.
So here's a simple question to ask as a leader. How is this going to benefit the mission? How is this going to impact the mission? And if the answer is a tirade of or a litany of 4-letter words, don't fucking do it.
Yeah. I just think, personally, I think that NCO should get fucking relieved.
Yes.
He should be relieved in the statement of charges. Bad paper. Fuck it.
The one that waited 4 days to report it?
Yeah. Yep.
Fuck yeah.
Nope, straight up. And the Joe, I would have given I'd have recommended fucking a counseling statement, and he'd be on First Sergeant's detail for a week. First Sergeant's detail for me would be when somebody showed late to formation, when I'd call formation and they would run late. I don't believe in fucking, doing Article 15, all sorts of stuff and paperweight, because the soldier's still going to show up late. The soldier's still going to do whatever. So what I would do is I'd make the soldier show up the following morning at 5 o'clock, and he would mow lawns and fucking do police call and all sorts of shit, First Sergeant's detail. So that way he won't be late. That way nobody wanted to be on First Sergeant's detail, and some of them would actually say that I would rather fucking just be here on time as opposed to doing First Sergeant's detail.
There you go. Lesson learned. Positive impact on
exactly
on the
that.
mission.
Exactly that. And now that that's been revealed, if anybody to find out who I was, and they found out that I was having soldiers showing up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, fuck yeah. But that's what I would do. I would do that, and the soldiers would say that that actually sucked for them because they had to get up at 4. I mean, it was fucked up for them, and that was just a week. I mean, I wouldn't do it like on a 4-day weekend or some shit like that. I'm not dead.
But it fixed the
issue. Yeah,
fixed
exactly
the behavior.
Exactly. It fixed behavior and all that. So that's what I would do. And the lesson to learn for the soldier would not be. I would actually say, "Nah, you're not going to be on First Sergeant detail. You're going to be the You're going to assist the supply sergeant and the next platoon leader for cyclic inventories."
Oh God!
Well, that's when you find all the stolen shit. That's when that's not supply, fucking inventory supply.
Oh man!
Oh, those are the nods that we lost and had.
Exactly. Oh man! So let me knock out some
housekeeping.
Let me knock out some housekeeping. We have oh man. So I'm just getting fucking.
Get it? Because they're fucking thieves.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, leave it to Doc. Anyway.
No pen for you.
No pen for you. Morty, they're all thieves.
It shows up on time or it gets the hose again.
So today we had Joe Plenzler, the Director of Media Relations for the American Legion National Headquarters in D.C. If you guys don't know that the American Legion is the nation's largest wartime veteran service organization and essentially in lobbying a policy shop for over 2 million veterans. Over 3 lines of effort are veterans affairs and rehabilitation, education, employment, national security, defense. One of the questions that I was going to ask Joe, but he was pressed for time because we only, I'm really late. Kept him really late. He served 20 years in the Marine Corps. And so for 4 years, he ate crayons as an infantry officer, and then 16 years was a PAO.
Nice.
So he ran the largest embedded media program in 2003 during the invasion of Iraq, and he was General Mattis's PAO. I was trying to get to that point right there, that he worked for Mad Dog. So thanks for coming on again, Joe. We appreciate it. Definitely welcome back anytime you want. Next Monday, we have screenwriter Adam G. Simon. He's a Los Angeles-born actor and writer. In the early 2000s, started his professional career acting in theater and working as a bodyguard and close protection specialist. Adam is the writer of Man Down, a post-apocalyptic thriller directed by Dito Montiel. He continues to work in acting, works as a script doctor and creator of the original content for television and film. Adam was also on the show last spring to discuss returning to talk about the latest project called The Raid. Tied Up Tuesday is going to be another round. The band from Another Round is going to come back to discuss their newly released single, In the Radio Waves, from their new EP. Now they're saying EP, so I guess that's what? It's an LP. What was an LP and what's an EP? I guess it's like a digital version of an LP.
It was LP was long play and EP is extended play.
Extended play? Oh. I thought it was electronic play or something like that.
It
Anyways.
might be.
Another Round is a rock band out of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and they share stages with Three Doors Down, Saving Abel, Smile, Empty Soul, Saliva, Hurt, and Tantric. So, for you guys not knowing, next Friday on 9 March is our celebratory party. It is WTF Nation Radio's 3rd anniversary. And we're going to have a special guest. And we're going to have some, everyone's going to show up, let's put it that way. So everyone's going to come on, hang out, shoot the shit, have our special guest, and then have our, have our party and all that stuff. There will be no cocaine.
Kind of a big deal.
Kind of a big deal, yeah. So once we get that out, and then Minx is going to announce who it is later. So we've given her the honors, alrighty then, to do announcements. And then, can't freaking wait for that. It's going to be an awesome party. So make sure you get your bottle of Jack. Hey, look, got some personal things going on WTF Nation Radio. I just want to say KJ, our taco truck driver, lost a family member. And so I want to say, hey, our condolences to KJ. And, hearts go out, brother. And wish you all the best. Hope you can come back on the taco truck and get back on the show. June Wolfsburg again. Good. Alles Gute Besserung. Thank you for all you do for us, preaching us over in Germany, and then of course we're always welcome to bring out some more music, put it out, and then we'll always play it. I think that's it. We got a show every night, 20 to 2300. Monday, Tuesday, not on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. This is Sergeant's Time with Ice. Tomorrow is Friday Night Freedom. Saturday Night Savagery. Stoners on Sunday. Monday edition with Flash and myself. And then Tuesday with Tied Up Tuesday. Great Cloud and Minx. This is Ice. And my master gunner is Mike Goof. And
that would be me.
My doctor from another doctor is a Doc Madness. And of course, one of my other senior sergeants, Spanky. So, with that, guys, hey, thank you so much for joining us tonight again, American Legion. Hey, thank you for coming on here. I mean, it's like a big win for us. Glad y'all can come on. So, with that,
fuck yeah, dude.
Yep.
Warning shots.
Warning shots. Y'all have a good night. See you.
Roll credits.
Roll credits.
Good evening, boys and girls. This is Tim Kennedy. I'm a Special Forces sniper, a Ranger qualified Green Beret, a UFC fighter. Please listen to us and the shenanigans that we're going to say. We will insult you. There will be racial slurs. We will be sexist. We will offend you. But there will be magic, and a unicorn will be raped. So enjoy the show. Thank you for listening on WTF Nation Radio.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.